Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on. Presented by your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight. This is LSU football.
It's Nussmeier with the snap. Four-man rush, throws. Anderson at the one, into the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Nussmeier flips it to Durham, far side. Durham off and running, far side 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Clemson Memorial Stadium, it's the LSU Tigers and the Clemson Tigers. Now, here's Charles Hanagriff and Matt Musso.
From Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day, presented by your Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charles Hanagriff, along with Matt Musso and our entire staff at the flagship. We get you ready for the kickoff of tonight's season opener between LSU and Clemson. LSU enters tonight ranked 9th in the nation by both the AP and the coaches. The Tigers finished 2024 with a 9-4 record, 5-3 in the Southeastern Conference, and a 44-31 victory over Baylor in the Texas Bowl. The season had its ups and downs. A disappointing loss to USC to open the year in Las Vegas was followed by 6 straight wins. And LSU looked like they were on their way to number 7 when they took a 10-point lead into halftime in College Station. But a rough second half cost the Tigers that game, and they lose the next 2 as well before they rebounded with 3 straight wins to end the season. Call it a C-plus year. Not awful, but not what LSU wanted either. The Tigers did not sit on their hands in the offseason. A renewed emphasis on the transfer portal produced a top class in the country in that category, and LSU has their deepest roster since Brian Kelly took over. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier decided to return for his 5th season, turning down a potential high slot in the NFL draft for one more shot at a championship and just maybe a Heisman Trophy. The Tigers were also able to keep continuity in the coaching staff with both coordinators back for a second season. LSU had a good August camp and coming into this game healthy and ready to erase the shortcomings of openers past. I'm sure by now you're aware LSU hasn't won their season opener since 2019. Clemson enters today ranked 4th in the country by the AP and 6th by the coaches. The other Tigers finished last season with a record of 10-4, and like their counterparts in Baton Rouge, it was an up-and-down year. Clemson started the season on the wrong end of a 34-3 whipping at the hands of Georgia and finished the regular season 3 points shy of South Carolina. In between, the Tigers won 9 of 10 to qualify for the ACC championship game, where they beat SMU to get into the first-ever 12-team college football playoff. They lost that playoff game by 14 points to Texas. Put another way, Clemson was 0-3 against the SEC and 10-1 against everybody else. The boys from Baton Rouge would love for that trend to continue tonight. Clemson's led by senior quarterback Cade Klubnik, entering his 3rd year as a starter and every bit as much in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy and high draft status as Nussmeier. Klubnik threw 36 touchdown passes last year against only 6 interceptions, and as good as that was, LSU must also contend with Klubnik as a runner. He totaled 463 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. Clemson has an experienced offensive line, a defensive front that's loaded with pro prospects, and a wide receiver core that's the envy of their league. Oh, and head coach Dabo Swinney's got a pair of rings, and his team's on their home field. This is going to be a huge challenge for LSU. The stakes are high. The winner of this game will notch a victory that will be impossible to ignore come playoff selection time. It'll also provide the momentum to start the season that neither team had a year ago. A top 5 ranking awaits the winner, and a leg up on every team in the country, with the possible exception of the winner today in Columbus. Also true, however, is that the loser of this game will have ample time and opportunity to produce a team that makes the playoffs, though that's not the path that either group of Tigers wants to take, Musso.
No, it's not, and that's important to remember, though, that even with a loss with the 12 teams, you can get in. You brought up last year, Haney, that's kind of the perfect example, right? LSU loses, they rattle off 6 straight. You fall in College Station, but you were playing for first place in the SEC in that ball game in late October. The interesting thing, though, is who needs this game more, and I would tell you that it's LSU, not because of the 5 openers, but because their path forward after a loss is much more treacherous than Clemson's is. Last year it was the game at College Station. What is it this year? At Ole Miss, potentially at Alabama, at home against A&M. There's less margin for error for LSU because they play in the SEC and Clemson doesn't. I would say, Hanny, everyone's going to be watching the quarterbacks. Watch the running game tonight for both sides. Each team going in with questions there in the backfield.
The wait is nearly over. The winners of a combined 5 national championships this century, the bragging rights to the real Death Valley, major playoff ramifications, the potential Heisman frontrunner, a sellout crowd, and then some. Bring your A game. It's Tigers and Tigers at Memorial Stadium, and we're ready for it. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet
Cadillac. 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Defense. Presented by Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Now from the LSU Sports Radio Network, here's Gordy Rush.
Calabash countdown to kickoff, just a little over 5 hours away. ESPN Bet at LaBerge Casino, your game day headquarters. On the Hooters hotline, our good friend Gordy Rush, who is in Clemson, South Carolina, or at least approaching Clemson, South Carolina. Not exactly sure where they're at this second. But Gordy, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I am in Clemson, South Carolina. I made the 45-minute drive from Greenville a little bit earlier this morning, and it is a beautiful day. You can actually sit outside and tailgate and not sweat and melt like you do down there. So it's a beautiful day for football.
Yeah, it's a little bit we saw the forecast, but I mean, if you'd asked me a month ago what I expected the temperatures to be, it would have been sweltering and humid, and that's not going to be the case. Before we get into this, let me give you a quick update. Ohio State has scored on a touchdown pass from Julian Sayin, and they lead 14-0 now against Texas. That game is early in the fourth quarter at the Shoe. All right, Gordy, let's start. We're starting on the defensive side of the ball, and let's talk about the curveball that was thrown LSU's way earlier this week. A.J. Halsey, the transfer safety from Houston, who was an all Big 12 safety a year ago and was going to be a starter for LSU, is suspended for the first half of this game. I think we did enough yesterday and the day before that of should LSU have known and the whole how this all came about. But let's talk about the football aspect of this. Halsey's been entrenched as a starter for most of camp. What does LSU do today to replace him, and how much does that affect their communications and what they can do in the secondary?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most unfortunate thing that you've had all fall camp, and you've gone through game week prep, and you find this out on Thursday, right? So, you've worked. I think the first thing is what is Clemson going to do, and I think you're going to run a lot of 3 and 4 wide. That's what they ended the season with. Saw the SMU game. And saw a little bit of game against Texas. They want to spread the football field. And I think this is with these circumstances, I think that's a good thing, right? So that means you can bring another corner onto the field. So does that mean that P.J. Woodland comes in and you go to nickel personnel and change it up a little bit? But all camp long, it's been by committee. And the good thing, they have quality and they have quantity this year. So I think you're going to see a variety of people come in the game. But I expect to see more nickel early on if they spread the field. So nickel would be Mansour Delane at one corner, Ashton Stamps, I'm guessing, at the other, Tamarcus Cooley at one safety, Sean Spears at the other safety. I'm guessing a little bit here. Spears, if you want to put him in a hash, and then do you want to put Woodland there? And then if that's the case, then what do you do with your front seven? And I've seen some things where they've kicked some people down to play the slot, and then Pickett can play the edge. If we're going to put him in the spot, I know you want to pick your situations here, this being his first football game, but he can get out on the edge and they can kick somebody to the nickel. Look, they've got different matchups. I just have a feeling we're going to see a little bit more nickel personnel tonight. Let's talk about what Clemson wants to do, and specifically at the beginning of this game. Klubnik is outstanding. He's a true dual-threat quarterback, and they've got an outstanding receiving core. I know you've been looking at film on them, Gordy. What stands out to you by Clemson's offense? Well, I think it's his ability to run, and you have to account for him in the run game. And, look, I mean, they're going to go back and look at old film of LSU last year at least and see how they struggled to handle the running quarterbacks, whether it was Alabama or Texas A&M in Sellers with South Carolina. That being said, I mean, this LSU defense has an entirely different makeup than they did a year ago, but they like to get him going in the run game. I see some spread and utilizing him in some zone reads. If you're an LSU football fan who watched the bowl game and then just put it all to bed and said, I'll see you for the opener, what's going to surprise you tonight, or what's going to stand out to you tonight about this new-look LSU defense? Well, I mean, I think Nick Saban finally verbalized what I've been trying to think about and translate to the fans out and the people I've talked to, is that LSU has 18 transfers that have started six or more starts at Power 4 programs. Right. Charlie, unless you've been to practice and you've seen these scrimmages, will you realize the maturity of this football team and just the physicality of them? I can't – it's hard. You're going to just have to see it today. I'm higher on LSU because I've had a chance to see them, and they're much better in person when you see them. And I think that's it. You know, when you bring in Bernard Gooden, who was on nobody's radar, and he's been as active as he's been out there, he has been the vocal leader of that defensive line. He has brought physicality that's helped this whole team. Clyburn's another example. I mean, you have DBs back there that have played a lot of football that are playing with a chip on their shoulder. They look a little bit more like DBU, and I think that's the thing that nobody's seen behind curtains, that the people that know are pretty high on LSU. The stat I like, and I've given it a number of times this August, is depending on what first defensive line goes out there tonight, LSU's second unit defense has combined for somewhere between 80 and 95 starts. This is the equivalent of having 7 or 8 returning starters on your second unit, and then you can throw in another 25 to 30 starts on the second team offense. That kind of depth, I think, is going to provide fresh legs for LSU in a lot of fourth quarters and in the second half of the season. But first things first. Let's flip sides here. Let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier. What do you expect with this remade offensive line early here? If you were putting the script together, the first 12 to 15 plays, what do you give Garrett Nussmeier and this line a chance to get their feet under them in this hostile environment? Yeah, I think I'm going to give him some RPOs, and I'm going to try and utilize some of my matchups You like Anderson on the slot. You like Trudez Green's, obviously, the size mismatch with that. Sharp is really effective in the middle of the field. Some high percentage throws off of RPO. I think we're going to see multiple formations, and we're going to see them spread the field some. But we're going to see more 12 personnel, and that's simply because they have the people to do that this year. Run a couple series and see what Tom Allen's going to throw at you. Keep in mind, Tom Allen, the defensive coordinator, was at Penn State last year. And they spent the whole fall camp really watching Penn State defense, trying to figure out what he's going to do. Now, he didn't have to get overly creative when he was at Penn State because they were so talented. They were more talented at Penn State last year than what Clemson brings back. I know they've got 2 or 3 linemen, but from top to bottom, this defense on the back end was okay. They were 16th in the ACC in rush defense a year ago, and that's why the change of defensive coordinator was necessitated.
Gordy, there are people out there listening to you say RPO, and they're wondering if LSU can execute the R part of that this offensive line with the ability to run block against a very good defensive front. And Nussmeier's, in the past, reluctance to run. Is there going to be a little bit more of that, just a little bit more of that this year where he takes off and runs?
Yeah, I think you're seeing that. You're seeing, I think, through fall camp, 1 or 2 times I think he'll keep the football just to keep people honest. And I think there's probably 1 or 2 times now, if it's not there, that he'll go ahead and run and take the yardage if he's from the pocket. Do I think he's going to run 7-8 times a game? I don't. I think he'll take advantage of it a little bit more.
Gordy, I want to expand on that with the running game because obviously everyone's going to look at it. You weren't great a year ago, last in the SEC, right? Clemson's defensive scheme, though, last year really struggled to prevent teams from running the ball with the new offensive line, Caden Durham, everybody. What is a fair expectation for LSU's running game tonight?
I think, middle of the pack, I think you got to run for over 100 yards here and at least be the more physical football team up there. And that's everybody has been kind of poo-pooing LSU's offensive line because of the struggles of last year. Charlie, you've heard me speak. The problem that LSU had offensively was the fact that they didn't have anybody could stretch the field vertically. And because they couldn't stretch anything vertically, opponents were able to bring people in the box. They were able to play press when they shouldn't be playing on press like a school like LSU. And then LSU was young at center, and he really struggled in a lot of just the checks and just didn't fit well. And that's why they went out and got themselves another center. That being said, I think if LSU can get a couple open some things up with the passing game, a couple of big plays, not necessarily 50 yards down the football field, but if you can beat their man coverage and back them up a little bit, it'll put some numbers up in the front box that the offensive line should be able to block, and you should be able to take advantage of some of the run game. Matt, they got to be able to run the football. You cannot be one-dimensional and win games like this.
All right, last one. If they are going to be able to keep people a little bit on their heels, is 12 personnel the best way to do that? That's 2 receivers on the field. That's 2 really good receiving options at tight end. But if you're going to go 12 personnel, are you going to be able to stretch the field with that alignment?
Well, I mean, I think you've got, look, if you're effective and you're able to run the ball and you're able to use those 2 tight ends, and what Sharp and Green would be the 12 package in the middle of the football field, you're gonna bring some people up, and that you're gonna leave man-to-man matchups on the edge. And I think that's the big thing. Berrien Brown has probably been the most impressive receiver through fall camp. Chris Hilton wasn't healthy till after the last bye week a year ago, and we saw the difference that he made. You've got to take advantage and win those outside matchups if you do bring 12. I don't think it's going to be one formation. I think they're going to test a lot of things and see what Allen's going to do based off of it, and then you make adjustments, and the things that are working, you continue on with that.
Gordy, enjoy the game. Have a safe trip back. No raincoat, no sweat. This is going to be a walk in the park for you on the sideline tonight. So,
Charlie, no more visors for me. I've gotten too many snapshots of people with my bald spot when I'm interviewing the coach. So I've gone to a full fitted hat. So you're one of the fitted hats. So I've made an adjustment.
Okay. Well, let's get it sponsored, huh? Please. I mean, let's not miss an opportunity. Thanks a lot, man. Have a safe trip back.
All right, brother.
We are here at Rouse's. Let Rouse's cover the spread for you. Your tailgating spread with stuff from the bakery, from the Chop House, from the Mongolian Grill, Louisiana shrimp and crawfish if you're cooking. A huge cooler with pretty much every beer on the market. Big selection of wine and spirits as well. Come on over here. Just turn left as soon as you come into Rouse's. And, of course, for your tailgating next week. And they never run out of ice here at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. Jimmy Ott's with us when we come back. And later on in this hour, we'll have an in-depth conversation with LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward. From Rouse's on Burbank, this is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Orderlocks, presented by Supreme Rice. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed for generations right here in Louisiana. And we're at the Odd House every Monday. It's red beans and Supreme Rice. Parboiled rice, the Odd Father's personal favorite. Now let's get locked in with Jimmy Ott.
And we bring in Jimmy on the Hooters Hotline. Update from Columbus. Buckeyes lead it 14-0. We're at the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. 4th down and 3 for Texas. They are down deep in Ohio State territory and absolutely have to convert this to really have any kind of a chance. Before we go to Jimmy, we'll see this 4th down play. This is 4th down and 3 from the Ohio State 9-yard line with Arch Manning in the shotgun back at the 15, and they're going to stop play here for something.
Of course.
Naturally. All right, Jimmy, it's been a day dominated by the defenses up in Columbus. A really rough start for Arch Manning. He's thrown 12 of 20 for under 100 yards and 2 interceptions, and Texas has got to get in here if they want to have any chance.
No, it was the last interception was reversed, Charlie.
Oh,
that's what kept this drive alive. So
okay.
Ohio State with the ball in their hands, and they went to a long timeout, and it rotated a little bit, so they waved that off. Threw in the coverage. He was under pressure, but No doubt. Defenses are way ahead of these offenses today. The yards are very tough. Yards have been very tough today. So Ohio State, that they converted on their 3rd and goal for about the 1, just outside the 1. And, Texas tried to quarterback sneak just inside the 1 and didn't get an inch. So that was it for 7-0. So Ohio State could finally make a play. And, and they flipped the field position on the interception. So that set up the 2nd touchdown for Ohio State. But 4th and 3 here, Manning back to pass, looking underneath, fires. It is incomplete, no flags in the play, and Ohio State will take over on down.
Well, this is 2 deep drives for Texas that result in turning the ball over on downs. They had a 4th and goal from inside the 1 in the quarterback earlier in the game. The quarterback sneak did not get there, and it's just been a miserable day for the Texas offense.
Both of those drives came after some breaks. Really poor a spy for Ohio State on 3rd and long, and Arts actually beat him to the corner for a scramble and a conversion. But those 2 scoring opportunities, but they hadn't had a whole lot. That's right after a dropped interception by Ohio State. The first guy missed it, and the second guy should have caught it on a tip. But no, and look, Ohio State's not doing much on defense. I love the way the Texas DBs are playing. They are good because we know how good those wide receivers are. That's been a fun watch. But no, these defenses way ahead of these offenses today. All the yards have been tough.
Yeah, one of the Ohio State drives was aided by 2 big penalties. One of them on 3rd down that they would have got off the field at the face mask, and then a PI that got them some nice yardage. So,
and a story of this, from a handicap perspective, a story of this week. First half unders, 7-1 Thursday night, 5-0 last night, 5-2 with the early game. So that's FBS only matchups, D1 matchups only. So whether it's in a MAC, as long as they're D1, but it's a heavy trend in the first few days of the first week.
And about the only game that didn't early today is the one I want to ask you about. What do you think of Tennessee? They lead 38-20 in the 3rd quarter. Joey Aguilar has thrown a couple of touchdown passes for the Vols.
And he's missed a lot of passes too, Charlie. Some very, very spotty play by Aguilar. He had a nice run though, also, but he kind of takes his shots. He's got a live arm. And I'm just more impressed by Tennessee's roster today. Syracuse loses a lot. Nobody lost more offensive production than Syracuse last year with 5,000-yard passer, 3 receivers, 2,900 yards, and another 1,200-yard rusher and 20 total TDs. Nobody had that type of turnover. They brought in Angeli, the backup we saw in the Penn State semifinal game for Notre Dame. He beat out former LSU signing, Ricky Collins. But I'm just impressed with the receivers, the line, the running game. It's not so much an Aguilar. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback. Tennessee's roster is finding good this year.
All right. Outside of the unders, which is, you documented that trend pretty well. What's coming up later today that some of your favorite plays?
Well, the most public play on the board. This just in, but Alabama supporters think they're good this year. So they're laying 14. They're laying 14 on the road. Charlie, I like this game that's getting ready to go at 2:30. Randy McKay gave it to us on the Daily Show. And that is going against Iowa State, South Dakota. Massive sandwich spot there. The big win in Dublin against Kansas State. They come back after the long flight. Who's on the schedule next week? From Iowa. So a real spot here for South Dakota, plus 15.5. That's a 2:30 start there. Looking a little bit further down. And I kind of like the points just a little bit. Between Florida State and Alabama, so I'm going to take a small bet on the Seminoles plus the points there. But later tonight we'll get to it. My best bet of the week, and that's the under for LSU and Clemson. It's not just the first half; it's not quite the percentage, but the unders period have been pretty profitable so far.
All right, last thing, take the under for your play, but who do you like to win the game?
This is LSU's toughest assignment. Maybe Alabama is a better team this year. That's possible. Maybe not. But when they play Alabama, the offensive line, who's the weakest unit on the team, will have time to kind of come together and gel. I see some of the things like, Texas and, the first true road start for Arch Manning against a quality team in a hostile environment. It's been ugly. It's tough. He'll be fine against Kentucky, Vandy, and Mississippi State. They'll throw for 15 combined touchdowns. Trust me, we'll see all of them. But the thing is, I just think it's a tough spot. The caliber of opponent, the first game on the road, hostile environment with the young offensive line. I think Clemson has the advantage. So hopefully LSU can stay close and maybe Nussmeier can get them to get going in the second half. But it's a tough spot. The toughest, I think, all season. For the caliber of competition, the spot in the schedule, the way they're built, and where they're playing.
Autolocks is brought to you by Supreme Rice.
Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. It's a tradition every Monday at the Outhouse. It's that parboiled rice with white beans, red beans. We're having some kind of beans, so put them in a slow cooker on Sunday evening, and we're there, man. It's a high-quality rice. But, the great thing about Supreme Rice is it's Louisiana farmers. They have the best interest in Louisiana farmers, but not just currently, in the future as well with their Climate Smart program. Louisiana Rice and Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com.
All right, Jimmy, enjoy the rest of the games, and we will be on the air on Labor Day at 11 o'clock our normal time, so we'll have a lot to talk about then. Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, you too.
All right, Ohio State with a 14-point lead and the football with about 6 minutes to go in that game up in Columbus. When we come back, we had a chance to sit down earlier this week with LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward on a variety of topics. That's next here from Rouse's on Burbank and Lee. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net.
98.1.
Scott, it's time for another football season. Everybody's real excited. You know, things are different now with a bigger conference and the playoff system, and this is a great football game to start. How do you feel about the overall state of the program, the conference? Because a lot has changed.
Yeah, I feel really good, Charles. I think that the state of our program's in very good shape. It's just LSU's brand is so darn good and so potent everywhere and everything that we do. And I really like where Coach Kelly has our football team ready going into this game. For me, it's his system's finally in that he wants and the type of kids that we have. And there's a lot of catching up to do, from when we were at that Texas Bowl with, 6 or 9 scholarship athletes to come into where we are today, getting a couple of seasons with 10 wins and not the season that we wanted to have last year. But I'm really feeling good with this team and what I've seen, and it's going to be fun to see how they do.
Let's start with a big decision that the Southeastern Conference made to go to 9 conference games starting next year. That came in a couple of weeks ago. I know you and Coach Kelly were both in favor of that. With that comes 3 permanent opponents. That decision won't come down till December. What are your thoughts on who those might be for LSU, and do you have a preference?
Yeah, I view it much differently than you guys in the media view it. It's not a big decision to me. It's a smart decision, and it's one that I'm glad it has come and time has come on it. From that standpoint, hey, it's part of what we do and how we do it. When you have a half-empty stadium on not a good non-conference opponent, it's a problem. And you want your fans happy, you want them engaged, and we'll rise to the competition like we always do in the Southeastern Conference, and I feel good about it. Is it harder? Heck yeah, but we're up for the challenge, and we're up for the benefits that it's going to bring us. And then secondly, you asked, from the standpoint of 3 permanent opponents, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah, it mattered in the old days when you were a youngster and I was a youngster, when you didn't play Georgia in 8 years or something like an anomaly like that. We're going to play everyone in a 4-year period, at least twice. So there's not going to be missing anyone, and it's just going to be who's hot and who's not, and that's going to be getting us a tighter, more fair and honest schedule of playing true opponents in a true conference.
By the way, plenty of us in the media are happy about this, so don't get the wrong impression. How much input does the university have into who those permanent opponents are going to be, and what do you see as the primary criteria for who's going to be assigned to who?
Yeah, I think it's going to come to a lot of things. It's going to be schedule, strength of schedule is going to come into it, which it hasn't come into in the past. And then it's going to be traditional geographic locations where, hey, we're going to be close. And I expect it to be something that's not going to be unexpected for me. Throw in a circle around Baton Rouge and you see who it is. You throw in A&M and Arkansas and Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Alabama, and then it's anyone's guess. I bet you it will be one of those 3.
So just so I understand, there's not a call coming in from LSU that says we have to have fill in the blank here on our schedule.
No. It's going to be done by the Southeastern Conference, and it's going to be something I think will be fair. And even if we don't think it's fair from a, quote, appearance standpoint, it's going to be fair because it's going to be well thought out. Now, hey, are we going to catch a white-hot team, in those schedulings or miss a white-hot team? Yeah, maybe not. But just like this year's schedule, as difficult as it is, we don't have any really poor teams on the bottom end of this schedule, but we don't have any of the great ones either preseason, Georgia or Texas in particular. But we do miss, Mississippi State, who's down right now, and Auburn, who's down right now. But for the most part, it's been a pretty balanced schedule for us, and I think it'll get even more balanced and more fair going into the future.
The next big decision is the future of the college football playoff. How do you see it? 12, 14, 16, and do you have a personal preference where LSU is concerned?
No, I really don't. I mean, I have my opinions about it, but, here again, we're pretty lockstep as athletic directors with our commissioner on where we do this. We always go to the, kind of 3 objects that we want to accomplish, which is, first, winning the CFP, but secondly, making sure that it's something that makes sense for us, that doesn't savage the regular season or dilute what we do in the Southeastern Conference and how we do it. And then thirdly, for our fans, hey, does it make sense to them? And does it make sense to what and how we do it? Because, the obvious thing that I didn't say is, the student athletes, and they want to play games and they want to be competition. And we talk to them about it all the time. And we're going to do that. And I think that's where we'll end up. My guess is it'll end up at 14 to 16. And we'll have, a basis of where you're going to have the kind of analytics mattering more than just us guessing straight out records. I think strength of schedule will matter much more.
And that was this last metric that came in right before the league announced it. Was that the final thing that had to be in place before the league was going to sign off on this?
Not really, Charles. I think it was just people getting comfortable and where it was and how it was doing. And I think it was kind of an amalgamation. It wasn't one piece saying, oh, this has to fit for it to work. I mean, I think everyone got comfortable with, what and how we did it and how we looked at it from a standpoint of, hey, let's look at the big picture. And the other part of the big picture that's still not solved that you hadn't brought up yet, but I know you've thought about because we've talked about it before, is the whole yearly schedule. How do we practice? How do we recruit? What do we do year round at key times? When does the portals open? When do we have practices? When do we do what we do? And I think that needs to be more thoroughly thought out on a long-term basis, on just a part by part by part, whether it's 9 games or whether it's a CFP or whether we have an August practice or we do PRPs at different times. There's a lot to the calculus.
All right, you brought it up, and let me kind of crystallize it into one specific question there, which is the transfer portal. What do you see as the future of the calendar on the transfer portal, and what is your preference?
Yeah, I don't know, but my preference is once and doing it, in that period in the winter, and that makes the most sense to me. But I'm still open, and I'll listen to dialogue as it goes because everyone has some good ideas at times. But right now, I would lean towards that.
Tonight, when LSU takes the field, it'll be the first time ever that revenue sharing is a part of college athletics. And I know you guys have known this is coming for a long time, but the challenges I know were strong. What's the last year been like for you and your staff? I'm trying to come up with a very polite way to say, how'd you come up with the money? But how'd you come up with the money?
Yeah, our staff and our coaches were smart because we've been preaching it a long time and seeing this coming and seeing this big bogey coming our way. And we weren't in denial as a department. We had to do a lot of hard things, manage our budget really, really carefully, and we had to really grow revenue in a huge way. And thanks to our MMR partners, which you guys are a part of in a big way at Guarantee, and with what and how we do it, is that we've been very good, and our fans and our listeners and everyone involved in LSU football have answered the call, and I'm bullish about how we do this. And is it what I thought it would be? No. Is it what I grew up with? No. But it's something that I've accepted, and I think it's something that we're going to respond to in a positive light.
A term that gets tossed around a lot with the revenue share is alternative revenue sources. For the average fan, what are they going to notice, if anything, as you guys look for additional ways to gain revenue?
I don't think you're going to hopefully not notice it in big ways. There's going to be more, obviously, squeezing out what we do and how we do for recognition and advertising and things like that. And we'll have to just keep doing it to the point to where, we have to depend less, hopefully, not a whole lot less, but less on donors and less on people that are always coming up for our LSU Tigers and getting more broader, different types of revenue.
Another term that's gotten, or not a term, but an idea that has been floated that so far the Southeastern Conference, and I think you also have been reluctant to engage in, is private equity, but other conferences have gotten maybe a little bit further down the road. What do you think the future is as far as the league's stance or your stance on private equity?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's to me, private equity is just a fancy word for borrowing capital, borrowing money. And we have traditional and good ways to do that. We have a strong conference that has enormous capabilities to borrow money if we ever have to do it. And we have very good ways to do it here on campus, whether it's through our bonding programs for capital projects or what and how we do things. So we don't have a panic on that, and I think when people talk about private equity, it becomes a buzzword, Charles, instead of like, it's just a bank, or it's just a way to access money. And they think they can do things better. But just remember, private equity, for the most part, they're going to charge you 5% management fee and they want to make a 15% rate of return. Well, we're doing that, and we get that. And, sometimes there is a good call for doing that, especially with big capital construction projects, which we've done in the past a lot, and universities have. But just to turn your whole enterprise over to private equity, that's not a good idea.
This one you probably don't have an exact answer to, but I'm curious your opinion. What do you think is the future of collectives?
Collectives, here again we get into semantics. What a collective is. Our collectives have been great for us. They really aided and helped us in good ways to do what we wanted to do pre this settlement, this legal settlement. And so we've morphed it into, hey, how can they help and doing what they do with NIL instead of just straight in the past, nothing in return for what you were given. And so I think the different people are going to morph it into different things. But, as far as a collective doing untoward things, I'm not too worried about that.
Part one of our conversation with LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward, our LeBears Casino countdown to kickoff somewhere around 4.5 hours from now. Brought to you by ESPN Bet at LeBears, your game day headquarters. We'll take a break. When we come back, part two of our conversation with Scott Woodward as he talks about the new basketball arena and the future of LSU's non-conference schedules among our topics when we return. Ohio State 14, Texas 7, and this game is now with a little over 2.5 minutes to go. Ohio State facing a third down and long from their own 25-yard line. Could Texas get the ball back? It looks like that they will, as it'll be 4th down and 5, and maybe an opportunity for Texas to come back in here and steal this one late. Ohio State's been in control, but the Longhorns are now within striking distance. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
Eagle 98.1.
Scott, the new arena for LSU athletics has been on the drawing board, and a lot of plans coming forward with this. What's the status of, I guess, any progress that you can update us on the new arena that'll be used for basketball and other things?
Yeah, there's still a lot of discussions going on and dialogue going on about this. And as everyone knows and has read, it's not fully baked yet, and it's still being discussed and talked about. And it won't be ready until the Board of Supervisors is given the proposal to see, and it's not quite finished yet, but it's still a plan in progress, and it'll continue to be.
What is the status of the Oakview Group's involvement in this project right now?
Oh, they're 100% involved. They're the best in class. They're the incredible best stadium management firm in the country and probably in the world. They do everything from Premier League stadiums to our counterparts to NFL, NHL, and they are really the giant in the business, and they are fully engaged with us in negotiations.
Are you concerned about the allegations of the bid process, the Moody Center in Austin, or their ongoing problems with Ticketmaster and their involvement in this project?
No, I'm not.
What involvement is Shaquille O'Neal going to have since that made it into the news last week?
Yeah, you'd have to ask Shaquille that, but I think Shaquille has an interest, and I think he's going to play a good role in it.
Are there other athletes that are coming back? I know he's maybe the most high profile one, but is that a common instance for you now that a lot of ex-athletes, and you talked about the brand earlier, there's maybe no brand more powerful, from Joe Burrow to Angel Reese to Paul Skeens and so on and so forth, that these athletes are coming back and taking a share in LSU?
There's no question about it, and even the ones that you don't hear about. We had Eric Reed here yesterday, and what great to see a young man from the Baton Rouge area come and visit and want to be involved and engaged. But yeah, it's just always it's a person a day. It speaks to the place and how great the fans and the people are, and how good LSU is. To their student athletes and to their former student athletes. And do we get it 100% right all the time? Heck no. But we do it better, I think, than most people.
Baseball won its second national title in 3 years under Jay Johnson. Earlier this year, he may be the hottest coach in all of college baseball, maybe even further, college athletics. I don't know if anybody's going any better than he is right now. Is there a contract extension coming?
Yes, there is, and look forward to it in the coming weeks.
What else, as far as the baseball program, there were upgrades to the box last year. I guess I can ask that in terms of not just baseball, but the rest of the physical plant. There's always something to build around here.
Yeah, it's more of a human capital thing, Charles. It's like what I have to deal with all the time, which you guys as managers have to deal with, is that people poking and poaching your talent. And we're in the human capital business as well as the bricks and mortar business. And so, we had a couple of our coaches that were, looked at, and we had to obviously step up and be smart about how we retain them and what we're doing. And so we have a couple of new contracts coming before the Board of Supervisors in the coming meeting. And I think we've done a very good job, and Jay has done a very good job on maintaining his strength of team and his staff, and it's just hopefully the sky's going to continue to be the limit in this program.
And not necessarily with regards to Jay, but in regards to contracts, period, there's been a lot of talk about contracts have been too long, that buyouts have become too big, that coaches have become too reliant on being paid, as bluntly as I can put it, not to coach. How do you attack new contracts now with the landscape of the college athletics being what it is?
Yeah, it's an art and a science. You got to look at the data and see what your competition's doing. I don't have control of the market, and nor will I ever have control of the market. And if we did, we'd be in violation of antitrust. But we try to be smart about it and try to do the things that we need to do. But that being said, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed in investing in our human capital and in our people, because that's what makes LSU great, and our fans understand that. Will we make mistakes sometimes? Of course we do. Just like any big company or any small company does in making hires with employees or picking vendors or picking subcontractors. You make mistakes. It's part of it. You can't live and die by it. You got to just say, hey, how do we go on and continue our excellence and continue to get better?
Men's basketball has struggled. Last year, there was an influx of more capital to help them out. Do you believe that that's enough, or that there are a few more steps that need to be taken to help men's basketball? It had a setback with the NCAA sanctions, and is now trying to make its way back. As an athletic director, how can you help? And is it in position now to take that next step forward?
Yeah, I sure hope it is, and I think it is. And I think we Coach McMahon inherited a deep hole to come out of because of the sanctions and what we inherited. And I think with that hanging over for the early couple of years, that it's now time, and we need to really step. We've invested, and we need to step up, and we need to see market improvement. And I know Coach feels the same way that we all do in the administration, that, hey, we've invested, and we need to continue to see that investment going forward pay off.
Since you became athletic director here, and I guess I can go back to your time at A&M as well, has men's basketball been the place where the league has made the most strides? Certainly with the records and the postseason success, it seems like that. Is the spending taken, the lead on that? Is that why? Because you go back 8-10 years, and the success rate of the league was not anywhere near what it is now.
I think it's happening in all sports, Charles, in the SEC.
Yeah, but they were good everywhere else before this. The men's basketball has really come a long way.
Well, it was lagging, but I can tell you, when I was in the Pac-10, softball came out of nowhere. I mean, out of thin air, and now it's just totally dominant. It's over. So you're wrong, but you're right that where men's basketball was lagging. Now it's coming, but, still, winning a national championship, we still sputtered, even though we had a bunch of teams make it, and we still need to continue to do that and continue to make the progress that we're making in basketball. And I think it's been a focus of Commissioner Sankey's. I think he's done an excellent job there, nothing taken away from it, but we've really done some incredible things in sports that have come out of thin air.
This game with Clemson is part of a home and home. There are other home and homes with some really big, and have been in the past and continue, non-conference opponents. Now you go into non-conference games, and the league is going to mandate that you play one Power 4 game. So give me kind of your spiel, your thoughts on the future of your non-conference scheduling.
Yeah, I think it will be very simple, kind of common sense. We'll have non-conference games, and we'll have a good Power 4, hopefully home and home, or one at least neutral site if we don't do the home and home in a certain year. And then after that, we will make it a priority to play an in-state rival or two and go from there.
Is there a thought that, and listen, the 5 in a row has been, that stat's been beat to death, but is there a thought that a week 0 game, if you're going to play a opponent the caliber of Clemson or USC or whoever it is you're going to play in the future, that a game before that is advantageous to LSU?
No question. And look, when I came here, I kind of inherited the schedule. I wouldn't have put Coach Kelly in the situation of playing, great programs like we've played coming out of the chute, and we're going to continue to play Power 4 games. But I think I would have been a little more lenient on the Week 1 games, and probably would have thought about Week 0 games or the like. And I think it's going to be a way of smartly scheduling. But that being said is that you got to remember we're going out of a certain CFP format and going into one. So, I want all our fans to think about this in a good way, whether it's tonight or no matter what happens, is that it's a new world. We're going to be in plus 12, 14, 16 going forward, and losing the first opening game is not a death sentence like it used to be or could be. But we have to continue to schedule smartly with all the points I brought up earlier in our conversation.
Okay, it's a football pregame. Let me ask a football question. You've been out to practice. You've seen this team. You've obviously spent a lot of time talking with Coach Kelly about how it was built, and now it's time to put it on the field. What do you think about what you've seen out on the practice field so far?
Yeah, I really do like what I see. I see a team that's has great camaraderie, great closeness for coming together, in a matter of months, and I think they really like playing for each other, and I think, the term brotherhood can be a cliche, and for them, I think it's real, and I think they really like each other. They like being around each other, and I think that'll interpret into some very positive results this season. And I think you'll see, to be specific and not give you coach speak, I think you'll see market improvement on defense, and I think you'll see, some really good players that you watched last year get even better, and that's including our wonderful quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier.
We had a chance to talk to Scott Woodward earlier in the week. These are the two biggest things that I took out of this conversation, Musso, were, number one, with the three permanent opponents coming in the Southeastern Conference, the geography is going to be key here. Okay, the first three teams he mentioned were A&M, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. This will come down in December, but Alabama, at the very beginning of this process, made it pretty clear that they were not interested in playing Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. And if you put them in order, that's exactly the order they go in. Yep. I think there's a very good possibility that Alabama is not going to be one of LSU's permanent opponents. Okay, I can't swear to that right now, and there's still 3 months of negotiations to go along with this. But I think that you're talking about A&M. You're talking about Arkansas, and you're probably talking about one of the Mississippi schools, and I think Ole Miss is more likely there. That could happen. It could be, and he makes a point. You're going to see everybody 2 times in 4 years. Yeah. There's not going to be these giant gaps where Georgia doesn't come here for a decade, or Tennessee or whoever from the old SEC East. But there is the very strong possibility that there will be a future LSU schedule that doesn't include Alabama or Auburn. Okay, that is possible. But now understand, if you don't include those two teams, it would include Texas and Georgia or Florida. So, again, the permanent opponents, he said, well, they don't matter. I disagree a little bit. I think they do matter, but you're going to see everybody. It's not like you're going to see the entire bottom of the league. You're not going to get Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and not see any quality opponents in a year. That's the one. That was the first thing. The second thing is the future of non-conference scheduling. He flat out said at the end of this thing, I'm not putting Brian Kelly in this situation again, or whoever the coach is in the future. If we play a game against an opponent of this magnitude, and there are some non-conference games that are already scheduled out, against Utah, against Arizona State. There is at least one game. I think
Houston
is
in there
scheduled
as well. Yeah.
There's a certain caliber of opponent that they'll play in the opener, but they're not going to go into. They're not going to put themselves in a position where they got to go against a top 5 team on the road in the first game, and I think that's smart scheduling.
The blueprint is the 2019 schedule where you played Georgia Southern and then you went to Texas. Like it doesn't even have to be a week 0 game. Put them in week 2. Like, well, look what Oklahoma and Michigan are doing right now.
Yeah, that's the way, and I think that will occur. He's very in tune to that, and also it could be a week 0. If you end up with a neutral site game, maybe there is a week 0, and we've said it a million times. A game against the Southeastern or Nichols or McNeese makes a lot more sense in week 0 than it does in week 2 or 3. So hope you enjoyed that. We'll take a break. The game's over in Columbus. Ohio State wins the first big game of the season. We'll give you that plus the rest of the day in college football. That is next here at Rouse's, our LeBears Casino countdown to kickoff, about 4 hours and 18 minutes. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
And we start out at the Shoe, where number 3 Ohio State beat number 1 Texas 14-7. It was a game dominated by the defenses. Arch Manning in his, well, not his first start, but certainly, his first start since he's become the full-time starter. 17 of 30, 170 yards, a touchdown and interception. Texas failed twice inside the 10-yard line. Once from inside the 1 on a quarterback sneak that didn't get there. The other on a fourth down from, I think it was the 9-yard line. Didn't get it on either one of them. They did get within 7 with the Manning touchdown pass. They got the ball back and got up near midfield, but the 4th down completion came up short. Musso, we saw Julian Sayin also making his debut, his first start.
Yeah.
13 to 20, 126 yards and a touchdown. Again, the defense's rule of the day. We saw a little bit of everything from Manning. We saw some really good throws. We saw some really bad throws. We saw him run a little bit. He had 38 yards on the ground, and Texas comes up a little bit short. This is a very – I know there are people that will relish this, that Arch Manning – and I don't have a strong opinion on Arch Manning one way or the other. I think he's an excellent prospect, and I'm just a little bit sympathetic towards him because I don't think he asked for all this attention.
No,
Prince William didn't ask to be born the son of a king. It just happened that way, and he hasn't really, gone out of his way to attract all this. It's just his name. That's not his fault. For a freshman a first-time starter.
Basically,
you got to go make your first start of the year as a full-time starter at Ohio State. That's a tough assignment.
That's a tough ask, man. I tell you what, too, Texas just a little sloppy today as well. I mean, their defense played well, but some really costly penalties. Yep. The interception was extremely costly given when it happened. Hey, they almost had a safety. They would have gotten the ball back, but they had hands to the face that canceled out the holding in the end zone. That's not becoming of the number one team in the nation.
There's some very big penalties today. All right, game still in progress in the fourth quarter in Atlanta. Number 24, Tennessee leads Syracuse 38-26. 8:19 to go in that one. Joey Aguilar, the transfer quarterback, Appalachian State, took a detour through UCLA, didn't play there. Ended up in Tennessee in the Nico trade. He's got a couple of touchdown passes for Tennessee. And Braylon Staley, their leading receiver today, 95 yards and a touchdown. Maryland, this game has gone final. They beat Florida Atlantic 39-7. Fourth quarter scores. Kentucky leads Toledo 17-9. Remember, Toledo had that big win over an SEC team at the beginning of last season over Mississippi State. They are hanging tough here today, although it looks like Kentucky has just punched it in now to make it 23-9 on a long 79-yard touchdown run by Dante Dowdell. So make it now 23-9 with the conversion to come for Kentucky. Halftime score, Boston College leads Fordham 21-3. West Virginia leads Robert Morris 10-3. Just about to the half, UConn leads Central Connecticut 35-10. Halfway through the second quarter, number 20 Indiana leads Old Dominion 10-7. First quarter scores, Louisville leads Eastern Kentucky 21-0. Kent State leads Merrimack 21-17. That's in the fourth quarter. And Iowa State, the number 22 Cyclones, with a very quick score to open this game against South Dakota. They lead it 7-0. In games that finished earlier today, it was Mississippi State over Southern Miss 34-17. Blake Shapen, the Baylor transfer, threw for 270 yards and a touchdown for Mississippi State. Big third quarter for State. This was a close game at the half. State outscored Southern Miss 21-0 in the third quarter. Maryland beat Florida Atlantic 39-7. It was Pittsburgh over Duquesne 61-9. Purdue beats Ball State 31-0. And a very nice start for Barry Odom, new coach at Purdue. Tulane wins over Northwestern 23-3. First time ever that a Big Ten opponent has played Tulane in New Orleans. New quarterback Jake Retzlaff from BYU didn't have a big day throwing the football, but he ran for 113 yards and a touchdown. And Navy beat VMI 52-7 in a game that was never close. All right, these games kicking off at 2:30. Air Force and Bucknell, Temple and UMass. In fact, UMass has gone in here very early, 7-0 lead over Temple. Holy Cross and where did I go? In Northern Illinois, excuse me. Alabama and Florida State. I think they're holding the kickoff on this one because of the Syracuse-Tennessee game on ABC.
2:50, yep.
2:50 is the start time there. Number 7, Oregon and Montana State. That's at 3 o'clock. Maine and Liberty. Alabama, A&M and Arkansas at 3:15. 3:30 kick for Chattanooga and Memphis. 5 o'clock kick for Illinois State at number 18, Oklahoma. Albany at Iowa. Kirk Ferentz can become the winningest coach in Big Ten history with a win today. Will pass Woody Hayes with that win.
I think he's going to get it.
Against Albany? Yeah,
I think so.
They're a cool 39-point favorite. I think you got a good chance. Virginia hosts Coastal Carolina. Weber State at James Madison. The 6 o'clock kickoff, number 15, Florida will host Long Island. They have been very cautious with their quarterback down there. DJ Lagway missed spring, missed the beginning of camp. He has been practicing for the last 2 weeks. He will get to start tonight. We'll keep an eye on that. Number 17, Kansas State in North Dakota. Number 19, Texas A&M and UTSA. Charleston Southern goes to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. This is the 7th year, I think.
Diego Pavia?
The Diego Pavia Tour. He is back for another year. Austin Peay's at Middle Tennessee, North Alabama at Western Kentucky. Nichols is at Troy. Colonel's got off to a good start with a win in week 0. Number 14, Michigan hosts New Mexico. And who's the quarterback at Michigan this year?
Some scrub. I don't know.
Underwood,
what's his name?
Along those lines. Yeah. 6:30 kickoff for number 23, Texas Tech against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Missouri State's at USC. Southeastern at La Tech. Tech will be here next week for LSU's home opener. UTEP at Utah State. 7 o'clock kickoff for Portland State at BYU. Rice at UL Lafayette. Half the stadium now done down at Cajun Field. Here it looks fantastic.
I'm sure it does.
They got the other half to do, but they really looks nice down there. Eastern Michigan at Texas State. Lamar at North Texas. Abilene Christian at Tulsa. 8 o'clock kickoff for East Texas A&M and number 16 SMU. 8:30 kickoff for Georgia Southern and Fresno State. The late games, Northern Arizona at number 11 Arizona State. Idaho at Washington State. 9:30 kickoff for Cal at Oregon State. 9:30 kickoff for Hawaii at Arizona. Hawaii got the 1-0 start last week, but their quarterback, Michael Alejo, I think I'm saying that wrong, but he has been hobbled all week. He's expected to play. How limited will he be? 10 o'clock kickoff for Utah at UCLA. Colorado State at Washington wraps up the schedule. We're here at Rouse's where they want to cover the spread for you. All your tailgating needs here at Rouse's, the Chop House, the bakery, the Mongolian Grill, all your fresh Louisiana seafood, huge cooler of beer. Big selection of wine and spirits. Get it all here today at Rouse's where they never run out of ice either. And we're just a short drive to campus in Tiger Stadium. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish.
98.1. .1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by Alpha Customs. Alpha Customs. Be an Alpha. AlphaCustoms.net. After further review is heard weekday afternoons at 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
All right, LaBerge, countdown to kickoff at 4 hours and 4 minutes. Make ESPN Bet at LaBerge, your game day headquarters. Scone, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys. Doing great. Happy game day.
Happy game day. What's the first thing that went through your mind when you found out about A.J. Halsey and the fact that he's going to be suspended for the first half of this game?
First thing that went through my mind was how didn't they know? And then obviously this is a really big deal because having been out to all the fall camp practices they've let us watch, he's been outstanding and very obviously their best safety at a position where they were really bad a year ago.
What do you think they will do in lieu of him in the first half? What combinations are you expecting to see?
So I went back and looked at my notes from last Saturday, and remember they had their dress rehearsal, and they ran in all the 11-on-11 periods. When the ones were out there, Halsey was at free and Cooley was at strong. When the twos went out there, Spears was at free and Toviano was at strong. So I don't know what they're going to do, but if they hold to that, then Deshaun Spears would be the guy who would get the start. The other option they would have is if they wanted to put Jordan Gilbert back there. And really, you have these really contrasting players. So Spears is younger with a high ceiling, Gilbert older with a higher floor but a lower ceiling. Kind of reminds me of the combos we used to have about DJ Welter and Kendall Beckwith at linebacker. Like eventually you just got to put the more talented guy out there to let him go run. But do you want to do that in this game on the road at Clemson? You guys remember who started at cornerback last year against USC?
Sage Ryan.
Sage Ryan was starting at cornerback last year. He played one game at cornerback last year. It was USC because they're like, hey, Lincoln Riley's offense, all this sort of stuff. Let's put the veteran guy out there who knows where he's supposed to be. That didn't go great, but my guess is they put Spears out there.
Do you remember any point watching in August where Spears ran with the ones? I know he's played, and I think he even started 2 games last year. But has he run with this group? This is almost an entirely new secondary.
Yep, they have rotated so fluidly, Hanny. I mean, it's when Brian Kelly's talked about the rotation and the benefit of rotation. We can debate the benefit or not on the offensive line and the secondary. But they have been so fluid where at one point early in camp, I just stopped trying to chart who was ones and twos because they were rotating so much. So, yeah, to answer your question very shortly, Deshaun Spears took tons of reps with the ones, but they all did. I mean, they all rotated ones and twos throughout camp.
Let's flip it over on the offensive line. We're going to see multiple players at left guard. Do you think that's it? Do you think that there is a chance that Karius Kern plays some tackle in this ball game tonight? I'm not talking about if somebody gets hurt. I'm talking about as a planned part of the rotation. Or is this rotation, there's 8 players that Brian Kelly promised to play, is a rotation exclusive to left guard?
So just to clarify, he said there could be as many as 8. I don't think they play 8 unless there's an injury. I think you'll see Mabenga and Chester at guard. I don't think we see Cohen Eccles or Karius Kern unless there's an injury. I just find it hard to believe that they would run Kern out there at right tackle in place of Weston Davis, who has been almost exclusively your first team right tackle. I mean, they didn't start running Kern at right tackle until about 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, spring and all throughout fall, Kern hadn't kicked over to play right at all. That had been exclusively Weston Davis. So I find that hard to believe. And in the ideal world, that first unit that runs out there plays great, and there's no need to rotate. But I don't know that we see 8. I think you'll see Mabenga at left guard, and I think you'll see Chester rotating at left guard as well. But I think those are the 6 you see. I don't think Eccles or Kern get out there unless they get in a pinch.
Scott, earlier in camp, you talked about the offensive and the defensive line for LSU. It was very evident that the defensive line had the upper hand in team drills, but the offensive line in one-on-ones, they were kind of holding their own. As much as you've been out there, did you see that kind of start to even out as camp went along, where they played together a little bit better against the defensive line and team drills to give you maybe a little bit more confidence with the challenge they faced tonight against Clemson?
Yeah, I think that what was really interesting is in the last, I'd say the last 2 weeks of camp, we started to see when they would run 11-on-11s that there were 2 days in particular. It would have been a Monday, Tuesday, or no, it would have been a Monday, Thursday 2 weeks ago where I didn't chart a single pressure in the 11-on-11, let alone a sack. So I think with this offensive line, they are very talented and they have experience. Braylon Moore is a 2-year starter. Josh Thompson's a 2-year starter. Obviously, we know Chester has 13 starts under his belt. They've got experience and they've got a ton of talent. They just don't have experience playing together. And the more they do, I think the better they'll be. This is just an unenviable task. But to answer your question, yes, they did. The line, the offensive line started holding their own the further they got into camp.
Matt, you and I both think that this is going to be a very difficult game for LSU to win, and that the more likely outcome, not necessarily how it's going to happen, but the more likely outcome is that Clemson will win a close game. What concerns you most about what Clemson does that will give LSU problems?
I don't even know, Hanny, that it's necessarily what Clemson does. I just think that you are going to be prone to making more mistakes when you're on the road in front of 80,000 people screaming, and it just ratchets up the pressure, and that can be an avalanche. I mean, I respect very much Klubnik and those 3 receivers, but I've watched LSU's DBs in fall camp go out there and play really well against Aaron Anderson and Nick Anderson and Barry Brown and Xavier Thomas and like really good players. I don't think Wesco and those guys are any better as a unit than LSU is at receiver. So, I mean, they're gonna play a receiver at running back. You know, Parker, he had 4 carries last year. So, you know, defensively, I know everyone's talked so much about that defensive front, and I understand that, but I think running the football is more of an LSU issue. It's a commitment to doing it, which they didn't do a year ago. The thing about this game, Hanny, is if this was in Baton Rouge, I'd be picking LSU to win it for the same reason I'm picking Clemson to win it today.
We're very much on the same page there, and I hope we're both wrong.
I'm so sick. I am so sick of doing post-game shows and friggin' I know you too, and talking about losses, right? I mean, it's nauseating. You go through this whole offseason to get to this crescendo, and everyone's so excited, and then to be let down 5 straight years just sucks.
So then you just decided not to do post game, right?
Well, I'm going to do a show. I'm just going to do it. I'm reverting to what Whiskey and Wine was whenever we started it like 8 years ago. I'm just going to be on my back patio. I'm just going to smoke a cigar, have a whiskey, and fire up my personal YouTube stream. And you know, however long people are interested in talking, we'll talk. But that's it. But we're not doing Whiskey and Wine at Don Juan this year. T-Bob obviously leaving was a giant part of that. But we're you know, we'll do new beginnings, I guess. But we're happy for T-Bob up in Chicago. But yeah, no Whiskey and Wine at Don Juan.
If he calls in, it'll be interesting, right?
Oh Lord. We need to make that happen, actually. We need to make that happen.
No telling.
Split screen. I'm happy with it.
Matt, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week when LSU's home opener is in the fold. But thanks a lot, and enjoy the game.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
And we continue here at Rouse's LaBeche Casino countdown to kickoff. Now under 4 hours. We are at 3 hours and 55 minutes. Remember, kickoff for the game tonight, 6:52. So I know it's a 6:30 announced kickoff, but it will be 6:52. They'll actually put the ball in the air. We'll take a break. Recruiting with Shea Dixon is next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Recruiting with Shay Dixon from On3 Sports. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team.
And we bring in Shay Dixon on the Hooters hotline. Shay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, Charlie. It feels like only yesterday. I was just thinking in the post-Saban era, I feel like every time I come on, you say, how am I? And then we discuss that Bama's in a tight game, whether it's just beginning or ending.
Right. Well, they are. They're in a scoreless tie, but it's early in this one against Florida State, about halfway through the first quarter. Man, I hate to start on a bummer, but I can't bury the lead either. Thursday was a pretty crappy day for Brian Kelly. You got the A.J. Halsey thing decided, and then they lost Tristan Keys, who was a 5-star receiver out of Mississippi. He decommitted and flipped to Tennessee. What can you tell us about how that went down?
I think that one thing I've always said in recruiting, and I'll get this tattooed on me one day, but watch what they do, not what they say. And he had committed to LSU in March, but at the same time, he had made unofficial visits after that, and then he spent the entire month of June on official visits. It was Tennessee, Miami. He was going to go to Bama, didn't end up going with A&M, and then he ended up with LSU. And it was a 2-month death period from the end of June to now. So it's been kind of quiet and then not quiet when it reopens and Tristan announces that he had flipped his commitment. And look, I think a number of things went into this. It's, yes, you're in the NIL world and all of that, and you can argue all day that LSU's track record producing receivers in the NFL and even the trajectory of the program that kind of points to LSU. But at the same time, this is a kid who's making a decision where he feels like I'm going to be elite no matter where I go. I'm going to play in the SEC. And I do think, and this is the reality of it, Charles, high school kids, especially very good ones, can get NIL deals. He signed with Adidas. That runs out in December, and I think that's a kind of a selling point for them. We've seen this happen with Flauge, a number of people at LSU signed with deals that aren't Nike, and they can't wear any of that stuff if it's in a game, but then you can wear it on elsewhere and promote it through social media and all that. But I don't think he's going there for Adidas. I think he's got a good relationship with the staff too. But I think they just put together a package that was good enough to where you say, hey, what can you do about it?
How many kids would you say, and this is not necessarily a Key's question, how many of them have an NIL deal that's paying them money in high school right now?
That are let's talk top 300 players in the country.
Yeah.
Every kid that's in a state that allows it.
Okay. Yeah. So they're just so I understand, this is money that they are getting while they're in high school. This is not money that they are promised once they get to college. They're being paid NIL dollars in high school. And what states is this legal and what states is this not legal in the SEC footprint?
I mean, a number of them, obviously. Louisiana is one of them. There's a lot. Mississippi. Remember, the one big one was where it's not legal was Texas. Remember when Quinn Ewers went to Ohio State and said, hey, I'm a senior in high school. I'd like to start making some money. He went to Ohio State and did a brand deal and all that. And he's back in Texas. So more than not, I don't have the exact list in front of me, but it also brings up a talking point that Kirby said, which was, hey, look, if we're helping in any way with these kids being committed, they get NIL deals, all of that in high school. And if we're involved in any way and they don't come here, I want my money back. I'm not going to help them out like that. So it's the ever-changing world of college football right now that is a question, Charlie. Hey, would a team who have a kid committed who has high school NIL deals where the team is involved and what they come in and out of this collective stuff every other week? But what do you do with that? And I just think each program handles it a different way.
All right, let's get to something a little bit more positive here. For those that are casual followers of recruiting, get everybody caught up. How many commitments? Where are they ranked? What does this class look like right now?
Yeah, well, look, obviously there's Tristan Keys bunking down a few spots, so they're sitting right there with Michigan, kind of battling to be in the top 10. But I'll say this, and the easiest way for me to explain it, because I love the way we do our rankings, but USC has 30-something commits, right? Well, Southern Cal. LSU has 17. Bama's got 21. Everybody's at a different range. So we do a rolling counter, and it usually maxes out at 17, 18 kids. And our rankings team says, hey, that's about the number of guys. If you're signing 25 to 30 kids, 20 to 30 kids, that ultimately pan out, whether it is at your school or elsewhere. So let's just count those guys. Well, LSU's sitting right at that threshold. So the next commit they land, which more than likely will be a 4-star, they could jump from 11 to 6, 7, land 2, you're in the top 5. So it's a really, really tight race. Nobody's run away from the recruiting class this cycle. But I will note, Charlie, with there's 17 commits, I mean, they've got multiple 5-stars. Beyond Blaine Bradford, who's committed to Ohio State and is not signed, but coming out of Baton Rouge Catholic, they've locked up the state of Louisiana. They got Lamar Brown, the 5-star out of Baton Rouge. Richard Anderson's going to be a 5-star, probably number 1 D lineman in the country, coming out of New Orleans. He's committed. Look at, which I think people do care about, the average rating. Again, I mentioned Southern Cal, they got basically 40 commits, right? LSU at 17. Oregon and LSU are sitting neck and neck as 1 and 2 in the country. They both have 17 commits with an average rating kind of at 92, which would mean they're above a normal 4-star. They're considered to be right there kind of into that top 100, top 150 range. So bang for your buck right now, Charlie. LSU's got one of the best recruiting classes in America.
Alabama just scored. I don't know if that means we're supposed to end the interview or not, but we're out of time anyway.
Still.
Yeah,
it's still
7-0. Shay, what's coming up next week? Will be the home opener. I'm sure there'll be a ton of kids on campus, and we'll get to some LSU's targets then. But tell me right now what is coming up after the game on 3.
Yeah, look, if they win, reactions from all these recruits who see it. But briefly, I will say, Charlie, a 2-month dead period means that La Tech game next week, and it's the first time LSU can host recruits since June. So not a big game, I guess people would say, but there's going to be a lot of recruits at that one.
Okay. And after the game on 3, you guys got people you're talking to today?
Oh, yeah, we'll catch up with the guys who watch the game on TV. They don't really recruit a lot of Clemson's guys anyways, but they have visitors there, and then we'll have breakdowns on everything else. So, Charlie, do whatever you have to do. Go on a rant today. We need a win to start a season so that I can write an article about recruits reacting to a Week 1 LSU win. That's what I need.
I'm doing what I can for you, Shay. You know, I'm always working for you. Thanks, my friend. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, sorry for the Bama TD in that segment.
Nah, it's a menace, man. There's nothing we can do about it. Our LeBears Casino countdown to kickoff right now at 3 hours and 41 minutes. ESPN Bet at LeBears, your game day headquarters. We will take a break. We've got a new scouting report correspondent from the Senior Bowl this week. That is
Drew Fabianich.
I mispronounced his name in pre-show 4 times, so that's why I let you do it. Drew Fabianich from the Senior Bowl is with us next, and he'll take a look at the personnel for Clemson. That is coming up next here, live from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Scouting Report. Presented by Demco. Providing safe, reliable, and competitively priced energy services to co-op members since 1938.
Welcome Welcome back in. Eagle 98.1 Game Day presented by your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling. We are live from the Rouses on Burbank. Counting you down. LSU, Clemson, season opener. Tigers looking to break a 5-year losing streak in game number 1. Let's go ahead, dive into our scouting report, get a closer look at Dabo Swinney's club. For that, we go to the Hooters hotline, and we go to the now Panini Senior Bowl. Welcoming the new executive director. That's Drew Fabianich. Drew, we appreciate your time, man. Happy to do it this season. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I appreciate you having me. This should be fun all year.
It should be. It very much should be. We're going to talk about a lot of great players, obviously, throughout the season, both on LSU and their opponents. We'll start with the opponent in Clemson. I do want a few thoughts on LSU, but Drew, there's a lot of places I could start with this game, whether it be the quarterback matchup, but it would feel disingenuous to not start on the defensive line for Clemson because, man, that is where probably the highest draft picks are going to come from. You're looking at TJ Parker, you're looking at Peter Woods, both first-round guys. Let's start with TJ Parker off the edge. What have you seen from him that really kind of separates him in this draft class and is garnering the first-round hype?
Well, he is long, for his height. He uses his length real well as a pass rusher. What I like about him is the hip flexibility and how he can actually, clear his hips at the top of his rush, which is huge in the NFL. He looks lanky, but he's sneaky strong and really good at setting an edge. So, I'm impressed with him. And, again, will he go in the first? Maybe. He will not get out of the second if he gets there. But again, I'm kind of like in early phases right now of looking at the whole board and the whole country. So it's I don't know. Again, he's getting the hype for it. I just don't know if he'll go there or not. But he's got a chance.
Is there a weakness maybe that you see in his game early on throughout the process?
Sometimes he's slow to shed a block. At times. You kind of question where his eye discipline is and where his head's set to set that edge. But there's not a lot of holes in his game. There really aren't. And and again, he's
his running mate on the inside, Peter Woods. What a specimen he is. Well over 6 feet tall, 310 pounds. Split time actually on the inside and on the edge a little bit with Clemson last year. When I see that, the immediate thing that jumps out to me there is athleticism with a guy like Peter Woods.
Yeah, and the thing is, he looks round, and he looks like he's not going to be as twitchy as he is, and he is really good athletes for his size. I think it's kind of a disservice to play him outside because he can be dominant inside as a 3 technique or a shade, and when you go outside, it kind of hurts you a little bit, especially when you got shorter arms. To actually going against, offensive tackles that normally have 34 plus arms, again. So I think his money's going to be made inside, in the league, but, he has been effective outside and inside, but I think he's going to be more effective inside.
And of course, for Clemson, with the addition of Will Helt out of the transfer portal, maybe they can specialize with a guy like Peter Woods a little bit more inside, as you're saying. Okay, let's flip sides of the ball, because like I said, I could start many places. The other place we obviously could have started is the quarterback battle that everybody's going to talk about in this game. Cade Klubnik's an interesting guy, man. Highly recruited, got to play early at Clemson. It's been a little bit of an up and down roller coaster of a career for him, but now you look at it, the last 2 games of last year he was awesome, and you have people talking about him potentially being the first overall pick. I know he's someone you have an extensive background with, Drew, so tell me a little bit about the journey, how you've seen him and where you've seen him improve most to get to this point now where, man, he could go 1-1.
Well, the thing is again, when I was in Texas, we lived in Austin for 7 years, and I actually met Cade at, when he was young. Really young, like about 12 years old. And what's funny is that I went over to the Manning Academy and, saw him, and, we started talking about that. And I don't know if he remembered it or not, but, I kind of did, just because the last name was so, diverse, kind of like mine. So it was like, I'm going to remember this kid. So I've been watching him, and again, I didn't get to watch him a lot last year, other than the tape that I picked up, since I got here. You can tell that he's getting more accustomed to working within the system. He's making better decisions. He's making more accurate throws. I think that's just because just the maturation and just him, growing within the offense. Because when you're a quarterback, I mean, if you're apprehensive at all and if you don't see things the way you're supposed to see them, it slows your process down. And I think the process is actually, speeded up for him because he's more comfortable within the offense now. And I think they tailored a lot of the offense towards his abilities.
What about his legs, Drew? That's something a lot of people around here have been talking about. I know Brian Kelly mentioned it. How big of a part of his games are his ability to run and extend plays?
Well, and again, I think that's important for everybody, quarterback. And the thing is with him, I mean, he's not a, quote, run threat, but he is, like you said, he can extend, he can climb, he can escape, and the thing is his eyes are downfield a lot of the times. I mean, he can make you pay when you're in man coverage, but is he Michael Vick? No. But we always said he's athletic enough to save his own soul. You know what I mean? And he'll make you pay when you're in man coverage if he does escape the pocket.
The guy he'll be going up against, I mean, look, you mentioned your time in Texas. I'm sure you're pretty familiar with Garrett Nussmeier then as well. We're going to talk plenty of LSU, obviously, throughout the course of the season as well. But with this game, you can't talk Klubnik without talking Nuss on the other side. Just some thoughts on the Tiger signal caller.
Well, again, we've got an extensive background also because I was with the Cowboys at the same time his father was a coaching quarterback. Like I said, I've known him since he was 15 years old. We talked about the first time we met when I saw him at the Manning Academy. It was when he was playing in 7-on-7 team, on our field in the back of the Star. So, again, I've known him for a while. He's always had a live arm. He's always been a gunslinger. He's made a lot of plays in high schools. He made a lot of plays there. And what I like most about him is that he's developed the right way. And, he understands the patience is a virtue. And that, guess what? I can actually learn through, being patient and actually getting the reps that I should have gotten. So he didn't walk away as soon as, hey, I got beat out. I walked. That shows people a lot about his wherewithal and his competitiveness. And, it'll probably show Saturday too. He's a competitor now.
Talking with Drew Fabianich, the new executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Of course, you can get him on Twitter at DFabeSB. You can follow the Senior Bowl on Twitter at Senior Bowl. Drew, we get one more on Clemson, but before that, let's stick with LSU. Just kind of an overall thought on the Tiger squad as they enter 2025 with so much on the line.
Well, they, in just our eyes, I mean, there's, really 14 draftable players, which, shows you the depth that they have, shows you, the quality of, players that they have on the field. And, and they should, compete for a playoff spot, according to just the averages of, guys being drafted on squads, whether it was Alabama, whether it was, Clemson before, when you have a high number, it actually equates to being successful. So, I mean, I think this is, probably going to be a successful year for them. They just have to put it together. I love their team speed and their size, too.
All right, Drew, last one. We'll get you out of here on this one. Again, your time very much appreciated. A player on Clemson that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, but y'all have y'all's eye on at the Senior Bowl and throughout the season, he might come up on Moore's radar as 2025 plays out.
I'd say probably the corner, Avion Terrell. He's not a long corner, but he's got good length. What I mean by he's not tall, but he has good length. Uses it well and has really, really good foot speed and is really good in and out of his transitions when he has to change direction. I think he's going to be a good cover guy in the league. I think it's the one thing about him is I think he can play inside or outside, which, increases his value, immensely for, the NFL.
He is Drew Fabianich. He is the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, giving us our scouting report here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. He'll be with us all season long. Drew, I'm looking forward to the conversation all season. Great stuff, and we appreciate the time today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
It's our pleasure. We'll grab a break, come back on the other side, continue to count you down to LSU Clemson. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders. We're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts with
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Presented by Shell. Shell is the rhythm of Louisiana. Off the Bench is heard weekday mornings at 7 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, here's Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Right now, our guy Hunt Palmer has an article up, 3 matchups to watch, LSU at Clemson on LouisianaSports.net. Now for him, he's got the Clemson defensive line versus the LSU offensive line. All right, it's one of the big matchups everybody's going to be paying attention to. He's got the Clemson receivers versus the LSU defensive backs. Certainly now with the A.J. Halsey news, that maybe even be at the top of the list. And then special teams was the last one there. And for special teams in LSU right now, I mean, the returners that they have, and look, we could talk kicker and punter and stuff. I'm talking about the return game. LSU has got, I mean, Varian Brown, they got Xavion Thomas, A.J. Anderson returned to kick for a touchdown a year ago. I mean, you've got plenty of options there, so certainly going to favor LSU in that matchup. But if I threw that question to you, if I said, all right, position versus position, here versus there, where are you going?
I got 2 that I'm looking at, and it's not, one of them's not position versus position, it's coach versus coach.
Okay.
It's Blake Baker.
Yep.
How is that chess game?
So Blake Baker versus Garrett Riley.
Yeah, so how is that chess game going to go between these 2 coaches? Of course, Blake Baker. We did a lot last year. Last season, LSU's defense, some would say it overachieved based on the talent levels that it have from top to bottom on the defense. Now we have filled those holes. And of course, I know that we are going to be missing one of our starting safeties for the first half, but how is it, like the Clemson Tigers have a Heisman candidate quarterback who is deadly with his feet, can be, and deadly and accurate passer. So how can we get that guy moving east-west instead of north and south? How is Blake Baker's scheme, how is he going to use Harold Perkins? How can he get him in a position to affect the game? And so I'm just really curious how that's going to play out, because I've watched film of Clemson, and I've seen games where they are explosive. Then I've seen games where they struggled. So can Blake Baker kind of pick out what those teams did last year to make Cade Klubnik feel uncomfortable, to make them struggle on third downs? Can he decide, can he figure out what the game plan is to do that? So that is something I'm really curious. How are we going to use Harold Perkins, and how is Blake Baker going to scheme up this Clemson offense, because it's going to paint a pretty big picture for the rest of the season because of the offenses and the quarterbacks that we'll face that are kind of built in that same mold as Cade Klubnik. They can throw, but they are also very deadly with their feet. The next matchup that I'm looking at tomorrow is the LSU running game. Can we improve from last year? And it won't be hard. It's not going to be hard to improve from the running game from 2024. So schematically, what are we doing? Are we being creative in the running game? Are our offensive linemen exploding off the ball? Are they moving their man back? Are they moving him backwards? Or are we going backwards? Is there going to be daylight and holes that our running backs can use vision and not have get contacted at the line of scrimmage every single time and have to fight for 1, 2, 2.5 yards on first down? Can we stay on schedule with the running game? Because if the running game can be at least dangerous, it doesn't have to be the best running game in the country, because you do have an incredible passing game. But if it can at least be respectable, if we can at least stay on schedule on down and distance, and if we can at least threaten the defense that we can pick up 3, 4, 5 yards running the ball consistently, then Garrett Nussmeier has an opportunity to go on one of these incredible seasons and go on one of these runs that is going to be one of the best passing seasons in LSU history. But it all starts with the running game. If we're going to rely on Garrett to throw 50, 60 times a game, look out.
Yeah. I agree with the running game. It's got to go up. It's got to be more diverse. It's got to be something that teams respect. You can't just sit Garrett Nussmeier back there and just every single time the defense knows exactly where the spot is, right? And he's just sitting there and they know what they can rush to. How do you do that? You slow them down. You run the football, play action pass. They've got the running back to do it in Caden Durham. We'll see if the offensive line will be able to hold up their end of the bargain, but it's got to be more diversity. It's got to be more than just inside zone. It's got to be outside zone. It's got to be power. It's got to be counter. It's got to be duo. It's got to be all these things that we talk about. Hey, get on the edge. Run, stretch, lead. Whatever you got to do, get the ball to Caden Durham with an opportunity and with something that is more than just one singular style of run play. So, that's my big key to the run game is the diversity in the run game. As far as matchups, we talk about the Clemson defensive line versus the LSU offensive line. What about the LSU defensive line going against the Clemson offensive line? Their offensive line is not full of world beaters. It's not full of first-round picks. It is a unit that certainly has had tough times in the past. And if this conversation was last year, I'd say it doesn't really matter. But LSU has done a couple of things. They've added players through the portal on their defensive front. They've got a player back from injury. And also those young guys that were forced to play as true freshmen last year are now going into their sophomore season. So you bring in Jack Pyburn from Florida. You bring in Patrick Payton from Florida State. You go get Butler from Nebraska. You go get Bernard Gooden from South Florida. Okay, that's who you bring in. You get Jacobian Guillory back from injury. Gabe Relaford, Dominic McKinley, Ahmad Bro, all those players, now they've been through the fire. They understand what it is. They all had to play a ton as true freshmen. This defensive line room is so much more talented than it was a year ago. A year ago, it was held together with duct tape and super glue. Now you've got some Jimmies, you've got some Joes, and you've got one of the most intense human beings I've ever been around in Kyle Williams coaching them every single day. If anybody's going to expect and ask you for your very best every single day, it is Kyle Williams. We're not talking enough about this defensive line going against that offensive line. And I understand why we're talking about the other. I get that. I understand the question. Clemson's got 2 All-Americans. You've got 4 new starters. But if you flip it, Clemson should be asking themselves about LSU's defensive line, where that was not a question a year ago.
Yeah, I like how we keep bringing Kyle Williams up when we talk about defensive line, because we know this this line is going to be very well coached. And going into a game, playing a quarterback like Klubnik, you have to be so buttoned up with not making a mental error as a defensive lineman. And what I mean by mental error is you always have to be gap sound when you're rushing the quarterback. We talked yesterday about mistakes that teams made last year playing Cade Klubnik. They rushed north and south, all four of them. And when you do that, you create these huge windows of opportunity for a quarterback to not only see daylight, but to understand exactly what your body momentum is and the speed of which you're going up the field. So he knows which gaps I can run in. It just clears the way. It makes it so easy. So when you play a running quarterback like this that can beat you and can make explosive plays, you have to have gap integrity. You have to rush not necessarily north-south all the time, not with everybody at least. You have to do a little bit of east-west as well. And you got to keep them in the pocket. You got to close those gaps. The distance between the center and the guard and the tackle, you need to try to tighten that up as much as you can. You don't want 3, 4, 5 feet in between each guy, because that makes it really easy for a quarterback to see where his window of opportunity is to beat the defense with his feet. So, yeah, defensive line, I mean, I'm excited to see what kind of juice Jack Pyburn brings to this pass rush and what kind of juice he brings just that defensive line. So I expect that defense to, go out there. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of confidence, I feel like, coming out of training camp with that defense. Excited to see how they come out and play with their hair on fire, man. They're going to be playing fast, and hopefully they make some plays, but just going to be a battle of two really, really good teams. So I'm excited for this opening game. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want to be going out and playing some really small
Central
school.
Arkansas.
Wouldn't want to be playing Central Arkansas. Did you just take a swipe at Missouri?
That's what they played yesterday.
I know. That's your team, though.
Georgia's playing Marshall.
Hate to be Missouri
and
right
then
now.
Austin Peay.
Lame.
Give me a game that I'm sitting here and I've thought about for 7 months.
Been better than Penn State. They play
Penn State's got Nevada, FIU, and Villanova their first 3 games.
Beta moves, Penn State.
That's their non-con games, guys.
You know what? Why don't you be a man and schedule Clemson on the road? That's it.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, We've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. Louisiana Sports.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The dependable Storage College Football Scoreboard. Dependable Storage. Let us store your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
And we start with games in progress in Tallahassee. Alabama and Florida State are tied at 7. Florida State on cue. Florida State with an end around for a touchdown to make it 13-7 with the extra point to come. Ty Simpson has a touchdown pass for Alabama. Tommy Castellanos, the Boston College transfer, has a touchdown run for Florida State, and now add another touchdown for Florida State. They can go up 14-7 with this conversion.
Do we credit Shea Dixon for that?
Sure, why not?
Let's give it to Shea. Okay.
Georgia, number 5 team in the country, leads Marshall 21-0 in the second quarter. Gunnar Stockton has run for 2 touchdowns, the new starting quarterback for the Bulldogs. Boston College leads Fordham 52-3. That game's in the fourth quarter. West Virginia leads Robert Morris 31-3. That game's also in the fourth quarter. Return for Rich Rod up to Morgantown, his first game back there. UConn leading Central Connecticut 45-13. That's in the third quarter. Number 20, Indiana leads Old Dominion 17-7. That game's at the half. Also halftime score, Louisville leads Eastern Kentucky 41-7. Second quarter scores, number 2, Penn State leads Nevada 17-0. Number 22, Iowa State leads South Dakota 22-7. Air Force leads Bucknell 28-7. Temple leads UMass 14-10, and Holy Cross trails Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois leads that 3-0. That's close to the half. Number 7, Oregon, 17-0 first quarter lead over Montana State. They're just getting started with Maine and Liberty in the second quarter. That game is scoreless. Arkansas and Alabama A&M tied at 7. That game is about halfway through the first quarter. Chattanooga and Memphis just underway. Earlier finals today in college football. Number 3 Ohio State beat number 1 Texas 14-7. Arch Manning 17 of 30 for 170 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Texas was turned away twice inside the 10-yard line, once at the 1, once at the 9 in scoring opportunities for them. Julian Sayin, the first-time starter for Ohio State at quarterback, also had a touchdown pass today. High-scoring game in Atlanta in the Aflac Kickoff Classic. Number 24 Tennessee beats Syracuse 45-21. Steve Jelly for Syracuse threw for 274 yards and a touchdown. Braylon Staley with 94 yards and a touchdown receiving for Tennessee. Mississippi State beat Southern Miss 34-17. Blake Shapen threw for 270 yards and a touchdown. Maryland dusted Florida Atlantic 39-7. It was Purdue over Ball State. Barry Odom wins his debut as Purdue Boilermaker head coach. 31-0 was the final there. Tulane beat Northwestern 23-3. First time a Big Ten team's ever played in New Orleans. And did you get the uniform controversy? Tulane wanted to wear, I believe they wanted to wear white jerseys in honor of the 20th year anniversary of Katrina. Okay. Northwestern said no. John Summerall was not pleased about that.
Yeah, that's kind of low.
In the post game. Pitt beat Duquesne 61-9. It was Navy over VMI 52-7. Kent State beat Merrimack 21-17, and Kentucky beat Toledo 24-16. Dante Dowdell ran for 129 yards and a touchdown for the Cats, and that is your college football scoreboard. Florida State make the extra point?
They did.
Okay,
14-7.
14-7 now, that game in Tallahassee. LeBarge Casino countdown to kickoff, 3 hours and 10 minutes. ESPN Bet at LeBarge, your game day headquarters. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll do opposing media. That is next here from Rouse's, where they want to cover your spread here for your game day. Come on over to Rouse's, where you can pick up Louisiana seafood, fresh baked bread, cakes, and desserts for the bakery, the Chop House's Chef's Collection, the Mongolian Grill, huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits, and they're never going to run out of ice here at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day, presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Opposing media.
Moose, we're back. Moose, we're back. Moose.
Welcome back, Eagle 98.1 Game Day here. Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee, your local Super Chevy dealers in Yingling. Earlier this week, Matt Moscona sat down with former Clemson captain, now of the ACC Network, Eric McLean, for a look at Dabo Sweeney's club.
Eric, appreciate the time. How are you?
Man, I'm living the dream, brother. Excited to talk with you. What a massive matchup between two just really good programs. Cannot wait to see it. I'm actually on my way to Tiger Town right now. We're doing a little TV from Clemson, South Carolina.
Where does this one rank as far as all-time big game season openers for Clemson?
Yeah, it's up there, man. You know, I think back to my playing days when we opened against Georgia in the Valley. You know, that was one of the greatest games I've ever been a part of. You talk about 300,000 people in the city of Clemson. We only let, 84,000 in. I don't know what the other, 210 did. I don't know what they were doing all night, but it was fun, man. And this is another massive one. And you just look at the implications. You look at the landscape of college football, two power programs, two amazing quarterbacks in a year where there's a lot of uncertainty because a lot of these teams do not have a returning starter. You just hope that it's a really great show and both these teams put their best foot forward.
Eric, we've talked a lot here for the last half decade about LSU losing season openers. Clemson's lost the last two. I know Cade Klubnik was asked about it. What, if anything, do you make of that?
I think when you schedule difficult opponents, that's just part of the risk and reward, right? Like when you don't open against an FCS team and you're opening against one of the top 10 best teams in the country year in and year out, it kind of comes with the territory. Now, in Clemson's instance these last couple of years to Georgia, they've had a first-year starting quarterback for, a majority of the time and going against the Georgia Bulldog team that was really good. And, I think on LSU's side, it's something that people want to pick at. It's something people want to talk about. Both teams obviously are very hungry for a big-time win. And the good news is one of us is going to get it.
Eric McLean joins us, former Clemson Tiger. You'll get him on Twitter at Eric McLean, MacLain. He's part of the ACC network. Hey, Eric, I want to talk about something near and dear to your heart, of course, with offensive line play, and it's just a giant conversation in this game. LSU's got 5 new guys. Clemson maybe has an injury at right guard. They're still maybe rotating a little bit at left guard. Focus in on that Clemson unit, which I tallied it up, but the 5 guys that we're expected to see have played 169 career games. Give me your assessment of that unit we're expecting to see Saturday night.
Yeah, it's an experienced one, man. You just kind of mentioned it there. You look at the 2 tackle positions. We'll start with the right tackle and Blake Miller, literally a guy that started since he got to campus. I mean, he's been that good, that physically ready, and he's only gotten better every year. He's a guy that's going to play into the first or second round, based on what he does this year and how much can he climb. The other tackle position, Tristan Lay, former 5-star guy coming out of Virginia, really had to work. He wasn't ready to play when he got to Clemson. He didn't get to play his senior year because of COVID in Virginia, and he came in really behind. But, man, he's just grinded. And now for 2.5 years has been the guy, and he looks to be the strongest he's been, the best shape he's been, and really a mainstay in regards to leadership on this offensive line. And then, as you mentioned, the guards, Walker Parks, will he play? Will he not? Probably going to be a game-time decision. But, Clemson has 2 guys in Harris Sewell, who's ready, a Texas guy who, has come in and has played a lot. And then Colin Sadler, who he can play all 5 positions. He's a guy that's cross-trained a ton. He kind of was the 5th or 6th guy kind of rotating back between Harris. And now if he has to play for the entire game, Clemson feels more than ready there. And then you have Elijah Thurman as well, that Clemson feels like he's a starter caliber. He played left tackle, a couple of games last year when Tristan went down. Clemson really excited when he takes over. If he has to play guard, he's more than ready to take that on. And then at center, Ryan Linthicum, mainstay. I think he's a 3-4 year starter, a guy that very comfortable with Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik very comfortable with him. And just that energy and synergy that you see from those 2 is going to be important, especially against a defense like LSU's.
We know Adam Randall's moving from receiver to running back, replacing Phil Maffa. No easy task there. It was a 1,000-yard rusher. What's a realistic expectation for Adam Randall taking over at running back?
Yeah, man, I think, it's going to be fun for the country to see this. I've had the privilege to, obviously see them in playoff prep and then in the spring and then now camp. And every single time I saw Adam, at those different windows of time, he looked like a different player. I mean, he's just really attacked that transition to position with, full steam ahead. And I think a big-time heart about it. And that's tough to do, right, when you transition, especially that late in your career. But, Coach Dabo Swinney kind of sat him down after the ACC championship and kind of said, because the transfer portal window's about to happen. He thinks a guy like Adam, who, because of the stars that Clemson has at the wide receiver position, maybe look elsewhere and might try to get an opportunity to play more somewhere else. And so he sat him down and said, what do you do best as a football player? And Adam just kind of said, when the ball's in my hand. And Coach Swinney said, I agree. I think we should try your running back. He's 6'3". He's now 240 pounds. Like, this guy was eating salad every day, trying to maintain that body and stay fit and lean for wide receiver. And I think the last piece is just what you can only do when you're in a game, and that's physicality. That's running through the tackles. He's got the size. I think he has the mentality. I'm excited to see how he can translate and really be a mainstay for the Tigers in the backfield.
Eric, my biggest question about Clemson is, and it's an odd one because it's a position where they got a ton of talent that's at defensive line. And it's because a year ago in their 4 losses, they allowed an average of more than 200 rush yards in those losses. I mean, everyone at Clemson knows this, right? This was a major talking point. There's been a change at defensive coordinator with Tom Allen coming in. But I guess the way I'd ask it to you, a guy who played on the other side of the line of scrimmage and knows what you're looking at, how can a team with so much talent in that front 7 struggle so much at times against the run?
Yeah, and it's a very fair question. I think it's a great point, and just why is there so much optimism of a defense that was relatively subpar, not to the standard at all that Clemson, expects to play at. You look at when, we were winning championships and competing at the highest level, we had elite defenses, and they did not have that at any form or fashion last year. And so how are we so excited? Why are we so confident? I think there is two things. A, as you mentioned, Tom Allen coming in. It has been a world of difference from energy, passion, scheme, coaching, just abilities for him to get the message through. He's a pro at that. I mean, he's literally a head coach only in charge of the defense now. And that's a big deal. And, he's going to be calling it from the booth. He's going to be doing his thing up there, just allowing him to be a mad scientist. And then the other piece of that puzzle is a guy like Peter Wood is now inside. He was out of position last year. He was asked to play defensive end because Clemson was so thin at the position. They needed him to step up. Well, now you've got the number one defensive tackle in the entire, NFL preview, NFL draft coming up, back in his position, back at 3 technique. And, oh, by the way, you added a 6'6", 270-pound, defensive end from Purdue and Will Held that people are ecstatic about. I think, everyone else is getting a ton of the love and excitement. Will Held is going to show out and show up all year long.
What about at the second and third levels of the defense? Where would you say is maybe the perceived strength and or weakness defensively at linebacker and in the secondary?
I think linebacker is going to be really strong. You look at Sammy Brown, Wade Woodaz, Jeremiah Alexander coming over from Alabama. It is a loaded unit that can run, that is physical, that loves to hit, and really good instinctual plays from that group. I think Sammy Brown has a chance to be a consensus All-American. That guy, if you built a linebacker in a lab with awareness, speed, strength, physicality, that's it. And this guy's going to really, I think, surprise a lot of people, excite a lot of people with the way he plays. And then a guy like Wade Woodaz, just really rangy, very dynamic, plays safety. His first year, Clemson kind of rotated to a 3-safety look, and he was just running all over the board there. At the cornerback position, you got Avion Terrell, who's perceived as a top 15 pick. You got Ashton Hampton, who's a true sophomore who will eventually be a top 15, top 10 pick. I think you're good there. Maybe depth is a little concern. If anything happens to those two guys, there's a little bit of inexperience and some injuries behind them. Safety is the position where they've got to turn up. And not that I'm concerned because they've got some great athletes, and I think Khalil Barnes is a really good player, but there was some inconsistent play there last year, and that gave up some big plays. So when you're playing against a passing offense that was one of the best in the country and a quarterback who I think is the second best in the country, and Garrett Nussmeier, you're a little bit on alert there. If he's going to have time to throw the ball, those guys have to be in position.
I got two more for you. One, special teams. What's the overview there for Clemson in the third phase?
I pray to God it does not come down to special teams, because if that's the case, we are in trouble. Clemson, okay. Dabo Swinney just said the other day, he's praying and he's making a decision off punter, maybe on game day. So if flipping the field is going to be an issue, that's a really big deal, and that's going to be a problem, for Clemson. We'll see. Maybe they surprise us. Maybe it's all smoke screen. So we'll see there. Field goal kicker, it seems like they shored up that field goal unit where they're going to block better. They've got better guys on there. But when they needed it most, this guy hit a 60-yard game winner to send Clemson to the college football playoff. So I think they're okay in the kicking game. Punting game, we'll see.
All right, last thing for you. Time very much appreciated. Appreciate you hanging in there with us, Eric. Blueprint. What's Dabo's blueprint to get a win Saturday?
I think it's protect Cade Klubnik, allow him to be an X factor with his legs, push the ball downfield, and then you've got to hit Nuss. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to make sure that he doesn't have time to sit back there and dissect this defense. Because, again, I think he's the second-best quarterback in the country. I think Cade Klubnik's the first. I give him the lean because of the mobility with his legs, the thing that we have seen him to do, kind of touchdown to interception ratio. And if he's able to expound on that, man, it's going to be a fun year for both Tigers, honestly.
Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you, man.
See you, brother.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talkin' Tigers. Presented by Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care. With 14 locations, caring for communities near you and always available at lakeurgentcare.com. Talkin' Tigers. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
You're going to see a lot of versatility and a lot of explosiveness. You know, I think that's one thing that when you have the amount of weapons that we do and the different body styles and body types, you know, at receiver, at running back, at tight end even, I think you'll see a lot of different things, and I think you'll see us move the ball around well. I think you'll see a lot of different guys touch the football, and I think it'll definitely be an exciting offense to watch.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
I'm ready to go just as much as I ever have been, and really the load management was the training staff and Coach Kelly's idea, which I'm very thankful for them that they let me do that, just because coming off this injury, you know, it's all about building that volume back up over camp. So I think they've been really smart about it.
Linebacker Harold Perkins.
Well, our defense, I feel like is good and is level. We got Wood on one side, I'm on the other side. We got West in the middle, and we got headhunters all over the field. So I feel like it's just really balancing our defense.
Wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr.
Been a long time coming, you know what I mean? I thought last year was going to be my time, but God had other plans for me. And at first, as humans, we want to ask, you know, why me? But you can't say you have faith in his plan and you trust his plan and then question it. So I kind of took it as a lesson and not a loss. And now I'm ready, and I'm ready for what he has for me.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
I'm fully confident in those guys. They've done an unbelievable job stepping up, and Braylon has done an unbelievable job being the driving force of that unit. You know, being the center, it's almost like playing quarterback, right? You know, you take charge and you take control of that group, and you got to communicate things and be loud and do different things. And so I think he's done an unbelievable job in leading those guys, and I think all the young guys who have had the opportunities to grow into their roles have done an awesome job, you know, from spring to now. And so, you know, this isn't just something that's been started the last 4 weeks. You know, we've been building on this for the last last 6 months.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
I think it's a great honor. I've been here for 3 years now, and I've been working to get that C on my chest since I got here. And I mean, when I was named a captain, it made me, I was super excited for that just because I know how the team feels about me and how the coaches feel about me. So it was a good feeling for sure.
Linebacker Harold Perkins.
I feel it just give me a chance to show what I can do as far as being versatile, covering, blitzing, whatever. Like I always say, I feel like I can do it all. So it's just show everybody my versatility for real.
Wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr.
So I think by adding those pieces, you know what I mean, it completes the room. You know what I mean? Like everybody has their own specialty, and now it's all about putting it all together so we can get the outcome that we want.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
I think one of the coolest things you've seen is the confidence that we have. And I think it's because of the work that we put in. You know, I think it's a true and it's a real confidence. You know, we really have worked so much harder, I feel like, and not just saying we're working harder, but doing the correct things that lead us to being able to go 1-0. And, you know, as you said, just walking around, seeing the 1-0 things around the building, and I think it's just constantly engraved in our brains right now that we have full confidence that we're going to go out there and handle business.
Linebacker Whit Weeks.
I think it would just give us boosted confidence. You go out there, and we've been preaching 1-0 for months now. So to go out there and get that victory, it'll just boost our confidence even more.
Linebacker Harold Perkins.
Well, we know he like to run. And when the play breaks down, we can't let him go north and south. We got to get him going east and west. And it's America's offense. You know, it ain't really too much about it. We just got to come in and do what we do. Play good defense, get on them early, and keep our foot on their neck.
Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
One, just being the leader, representing LSU, representing my teammates the right way. And, you know, now representing 18 the correct way. But also, when you play football and you play quarterback at LSU, you got weapons. All the past quarterbacks have, and all the future quarterbacks will. And so just being a distributor of the football, giving the guys chances to make plays, putting the ball in playmakers' hands. So I think that's the biggest thing is just, you know, doing my job, doing my responsibility, and giving those guys chances to make plays.
Talking Tigers. Eagle 98.1. Game day.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Torina. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Presented by Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Financing all things country.
Kickoff now about 2 hours and 45 minutes before LSU and Clemson do battle. Quick update from Tallahassee. Florida State leads Alabama 17-7 with under 2 minutes to go, and now it has started to rain, pretty steady rain there in Tallahassee, and the Knowles crowd is into it. They're feeling it a little bit. They're going to get the ball one more time before half, and Alabama, a 2-touchdown favorite there, is in a little bit of a pickle. What a shame. Let's go to Clemson, South Carolina, where it is not only not raining, but I think we may be blessed with, of course, last year we were inside, but for an outside game, some of the best weather for an opener in a minute because for an outside game because it's not ridiculously hot. Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, joins us. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Musso, you're right, man. It's a beautiful day. It's not extremely hot. A few white clouds, mostly blue sky and sunshine, and setting up for what should be a really nice night here once we get this underway at, near 8 o'clock Eastern time.
And I think I feel like we've been waiting for this game for 6 months, all summer long. This has been the talk. The 1-0 has been posted everywhere. The emphasis on this game, the failures of openers past, so kind of set up the trip for me and the mood of this team as they embark on the season opener.
No, you're exactly right, Charlie. I mean, spending time in the building really since spring football. I mean, you almost, if you knew nothing about the sport, would think that LSU has one game in the regular season for 2025. That's, that's how much of a reminder it was. So, they're hoping they can do the same, once they get to the field. I think, being around the coaches, watching the team once we arrived here in the upstate, team stayed in Greenville, which is about 46 miles from Clemson's campus. It was a very determined look on everybody's faces. So, we loaded up the buses about 45 minutes ago, and we're about to pull up to the west zone of Memorial Stadium here at Clemson. And, as far as atmosphere is concerned, this one, I was at Clemson working when the first Bowden Bowl was here. And I've had several friends of mine who are still trying to make their way to campus right now. And they're telling me it's kind of got that same vibe. So it's going to be electric. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully the game lives up to it.
Chris, let's back up a couple of days. Thursday was a little bit of a rough day for Brian Kelly. Not only did they find out about A.J. Halsey, but they also found out that one of the biggest recruits on their board had flipped to Tennessee. I know he sounded frustrated when the coach's show was on, but had to kind of switch that off and kind of change gears a little bit with it being 48 hours to kick off.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a little bit of a total surprise there. And, again, you're trying to limit those distractions, and that's one of the things that the coach certainly talked about. He was like, look, we're not happy. Everybody's not happy that's involved. But, again, we're trying to minimize distractions. And that goes back not just to a couple of days ago, as you know, Charlie. They're trying to keep the distractions away, everything, all positive, all trying to pull the rope in the same direction. So they tried to really move over that quickly and then get back to the task at hand. So, I think Coach and the staff, just seeing the way they handled things and how they've handled things here so far on this trip, it's like this is what we came to do. This is what we worked to do. We've got great players. We've got confidence in all positions, and we're going to go out here and play.
I know you do a show with your counterpart from the other team every week. So kind of share with us what they shared with you about this Clemson team.
Yeah, I mean, I asked them point blank, is this getting them anywhere close to what they used to be? I mean, really that run, Dabo, of course, took over 7 games into the year in 2008. But when you look at around 2014 up until probably COVID, Clemson was winning 2 titles. They played for a couple of others, came up short to a LSU team, thankfully, in 2019. But I asked Don Munson, the voice about Clemson, there's so much hype around this team. I mean, there's so many players that have been rated so high, and they're expected to go high in the draft. Do they feel like they're back at that point? And Don was a little short of saying it, and I understand why. He mentioned Cade Klubnik certainly has all the skills. They're hoping that he takes a major step forward, and he's a massive piece of this offense for Clemson. But is he already at Deshaun Watson's level? Is he already at Trevor Lawrence's level? Don was well short of saying that. Does he have the potential? Absolutely. But he's going to go out and have to prove that to solidify his legacy here as far as Clemson quarterbacks are concerned over the last 10, 15 years. Defensively, I think probably is their calling card as far as talent and personnel. And Don feels like, again, with the addition of Tom Allen, that they were able to make that transition very smoothly. And now Tom Allen's got some great pieces to work with and returning players on that defensive side. But it was a team last year, Charlie. I'm sure you've talked about it. While they were third and fourth in scoring defense and total defense, they were 16 out of 17 ACC teams against the run. LSU desperately wants to be able to run the ball, something they've been unable to do for what seems to be a long, long time now. So maybe the opportunity arises.
Also last year, they were 0-3 against the SEC.
True story.
10-1 against everybody else. Although the SEC haters are going to have a ball with this because Texas has lost today and Alabama's down 2 scores as they approach halftime in Tallahassee. Hopefully LSU can put the brakes on that later tonight. Chris, of all of the things, all of the pieces, all of the different elements of this LSU team, what are you most curious to see tonight? What are you most interested in to focus in on?
The run game and the offensive line. I think it starts there, on the offensive side. I think defensively, it's going to be just all of the parts being considerably better and being on the same page and having some continuity. Now, I know they've added some playmakers on the back end. It'll be great to see A.J. Halsey once he enters the game in that third quarter. But some of the guys they're going to rely on in the first half, obviously, were baptized by fire last year. So hopefully we'll see them improve. I think you'll see a little more aggressive defense for LSU. That's what I'm looking for. But on offense, I mean, just imagine with Garrett Nussmeier, what we saw last year, without really the vertical passing threat most of the season, having that as part of the playbook and being able to establish the run game early and often just opens the playbook, and he's got plenty of weapons around him. So for me, it's the run game, and for everybody, I'm sure, it's how well defensively LSU looks. Not just making plays, but how do they look? How do they communicate? And that's really something that I know Corey Raymond and Coach Baker and Coach Peoples, I mean, that was one of the main things they've been trying to accomplish since spring ball and obviously through fall camp.
Let me ask you a double hypothetical here. Given the Halsey suspension, if LSU wins the toss, do you think they might consider taking the ball? That's potentially one less possession with him on the sideline, or am I making too big of a deal out of this?
Well, I certainly am not the type to wager, but I would tell you that if LSU wins the toss, I would bet we're going to take the football.
Okay. Well, if you think that, then there's a pretty good chance LSU is going to get the football because Clemson would probably defer. So they've got a pretty good chance to see Garrett Nussmeier out there with the first series of this game. Chris, what's coming up on Network Pregame?
Yeah, they're going to crank it up at about 4:30. Again, happy to have Brandon Taylor, Marlon Fabright, 2 great Tigers. Palmer will kind of orchestrate it, be the conductor, and going to have Sean Hudson talk a little LSU soccer. She's going to stop by and say hey. And then, of course, they'll dig in on 2 segments with a Clemson beat writer and probably dig in a lot deeper than I have on what to expect from this Clemson team.
Chris, have a great call and a safe trip back, and we'll talk to you next week for the home opener.
You got it, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Chris Blair and the voice of the Tigers, the LSU radio network, will come on here in about 15 minutes. Our LaBerge countdown to kickoff. Some now 2 hours, and I got to go all the way to 52 here.
Yeah. There's some real math involved in this week, Annie.
2:37 now. ESPN Bet at LaBerge Casino, your game day headquarters. Final scoreboard update when we return here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, Our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we
98.1. 98.1 Game Day, the Epic Paving College Football Scoreboard. Epic Paving, Louisiana's preferred paving vendor.
All right, we start in Tallahassee, where Florida State leads number 8 Alabama 17-7. It is raining pretty steadily in Tallahassee right now. Alabama kind of getting a taste of what teams had to deal with last year with Jalen Milroe. Tommy Castellanos, the Boston College transfer, has run 8 times for 56 yards and a touchdown in the first half. And that's part of a Seminole rushing attack that averaged over 6 yards a carry in that first half.
Gus Miles on offense, Hanny.
He has provided some problems for that school before, and that's a 10-point lead that the 2-touchdown underdog Seminoles take to the break. Late fourth quarter, UConn putting the finishing touches on a win over Central Connecticut, 59-13 there. They've gone to the end of 3 at Indiana. The number 20 Hoosiers lead Old Dominion 27-7. Louisville leads Eastern Kentucky 48-7 in the third quarter. Halftime scores: number 2 Penn State leads Nevada 27-3, and number 5 Georgia leads Marshall 24-0. Gunnar Stockton has run for 2 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. Also at halftime, number 22 Iowa State leads South Dakota 27-7. Halftime at Air Force, they lead Bucknell 28-7. Temple leads UMass 28-10 at the half. Northern Illinois leads Holy Cross 6-3 at the half. Number 7 Oregon leads Montana State 17-0. And that game is in the second quarter. Maine leads Liberty 7-6 now. Flames just punch it in there. Extra point to come right before the half. Arkansas leads Alabama A&M 17-7. Taylon Green is thrown for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half to this point. Memphis leads Chattanooga 21-0. That game has just started in the second quarter. Earlier finals today. The big one at the shoot. Number 3 Ohio State beat number 1 Texas 14-7. It was a rough start for Arch Manning. Finished 17 of 30. 170 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Texas turned back twice on 4th down tries from inside the Ohio State 10-yard line. One of those from the inside the 1-yard line. Julian Sand, making his first start for Ohio State, had a touchdown pass. Number 24 Tennessee beat Syracuse 45-26. It was 31-14 at the half. Tennessee was really in control of this game, but a little bit surprising the high scoring there. Mississippi State beat Southern Miss 34-17. Blake Shapen threw for 270 yards and a touchdown for Mississippi State. Maryland beat Florida Atlantic 39-7. It was Purdue over Ball State, 31-0. New head coach Barry Odom victorious in his first game for the Boilers. Tulane beat Northwestern 23-3. It was Pitt over Duquesne 61-9. Navy beat BMI 52-7. Kent State over Merrimack 21-17. And Kentucky in a game that featured 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 2 by each team, beat Toledo 24-16. And that is your college football scoreboard. Games coming up here at 6 o'clock include University of Florida against Long Island, Texas A&M against UTSA, and number 14 Michigan against New Mexico. Underwood making his debut as quarterback at Michigan at 6:30 on, I believe it's on Peacock. And I'm missing one more. Yeah, Ole Miss, number 21 Ole Miss plays Georgia State at 6:45 on the SEC Network. We'll take a break, come back, get Richard Dixon's thoughts, my post-game co-host, on his thoughts on today's game, and we'll wrap it up and head it to the network. We are here at Rouse's, where they want to cover your spread for all your tailgating needs. Come into Rouse's just off campus for the home opener next week against Louisiana Tech. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the V. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
Now the Bears kind of Casino countdown to kickoff now at 2 hours and 25 minutes. We're bringing Richard Dixon, who'll be with me on postgame. Rich, we talked yesterday about some of the things that you wanted to see in the script, the first 12 to 15 plays of the game. Let's start there with your keys to the V.
For this game, we just want to go out there and let the offensive line prove themselves, keep getting us upright, get a little bit of a run game going, and let those guys make plays.
On the defensive side, without A.J. Halsey in the first half, the practice time, the communications is what we talked about as the biggest concern of what they're going to be able to do back there without him. What do you think? How does that adjustment go for LSU?
There's a lot of guys that were fighting for that position, and everybody was doing everything they could to win it. Halsey ended up being the best guy, but it's next guy up. They got to sit down with each other. I'm sure that since the news came, they've worked together, and they got to go out there and just play ball. You
told a story about how before your first start, you were basically in a cram. Your first road start, you were in a cram session. Didn't go to the movie the night before. Stayed back with the coaches. Do you think that something similar has happened with LSU secondary over the last 2 days?
There's some veteran guys in there. There's guys that have played. If anybody needed it, I'm sure that was an option for them, but I'm sure they got somebody ready to roll.
All right, last thing, Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp, the tight ends. Your touchdown record is still safe for now, but I know you're expecting a big year out of both of these guys.
Yeah, man, they're going to be big weapons for us. They're going to be guys that are hard to cover. They're going to give us a lot of options, a bunch of multiple sets. I'm looking forward to seeing them get used.
All right, Rich, 90 minutes after the game, you and I will team up on postgame. We'll take everybody's calls, and hopefully LSU will be able to snap this season-opening win streak. Talk to you after the game.
Yes, sir.
All right, Musso, your final thoughts about this?
I'll go back to where I started, Haney. I think it comes down to the running game for each team. LSU with their new offensive line against a Clemson defense that wasn't great stopping the run a year ago. Clemson with a converted wide receiver at Adam Randall in running game. Whichever team establishes it, I think they win the game.
Yeah, and, we haven't talked a lot about special teams.
Yeah.
But LSU would seem to have, again, this is a little bit of an unknown, but just based off of last year's numbers, a advantage in the punt game.
I agree.
And Barian Brown is the SEC's all-time leader in kickoff returns for touchdowns. If you're going to receive the ball to open the game, as Chris Blair
Take it to the house,
suggested that they would, go ahead and do that. Thanks to our hosts here at Rouse's. They'll be our hosts all season long. Again, they want to cover your spread at your tailgate, so let Rouse's handle it for your food, your beverages, and all your tailgating necessities here at Burbank and Lee. We'll be back again 90 minutes after the end of LSU and Clemson. For Matt Musso and our entire staff, the guys back in the studio at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. From Rouse's, this has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Please consider making a donation locally through St. Vincent de Paul that truly helps people in need. If you have a boat, car, motorcycle, RV, clothing, housewares, or furniture you no longer use, please consider donating it to St. Vincent de Paul. This donation could get you a tax deduction. Visit svdpbr.org.
Advanced Windshield is hiring experienced auto glass techs. If you have 5 or more years with windshields or body shops, come join a team where you're treated like a pro, not a number. Great pay, steady work, and the tools to do the job right. Apply now at advancedwindshield.com.
Technology, a modern blessing, but a curse when issues arise. Rev Business is your human touch in the digital world, with personal support and meaningful solutions to your real-world challenges. We are a local team who will do whatever it takes to keep you up and running. Sign up for internet, hosted phone, and security with our no-risk 90-day guarantee. For internet, hosted phone, and security, experience the difference of working with Rev Business. 90 years of connecting Louisiana.